Welcome to episode 68 of the Wilderness Podcast, your old school Runescape podcast done every single week, made by casuals, made for casuals. Still haven't figured out what our little slogan's going to be, but we'll throw it in every now and then. I'm your host, Dilz, and with me, like always, is Mr. Deagin.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Going's pretty good. How are things with you? How was your week?
Yeah, not too bad. Real life, nothing. You know, the usual.
That's good.
Yeah.
Plenty of time to do some grinding.
Yeah, a bit.
Oh, fuck.
So, on my main account, I didn't really do too much. I did like a couple of Vorkath kills, some demonic gorillas, and some wood cutting, some just like AFK magics.
Nice. Anything exciting from that?
No, there's like nothing at all.
Okay.
Just made a little bit of money. Played a bunch of my Obby Mauler though. Haven't passed like 2 days because I ran a membership, so I'm just gonna grind
shit.
Gonna go grind another bond. Gonna get back on that Vorkath grind and whatnot. But
just get like 10 kills and you're golden.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I don't remember what my stats were last week, so might not be much of a change, but so for my Obby Mauler, I'm at 64 health. I'm 75 strength. I'm 1/10 of the way to 99.
That's pretty good though. I mean, 75, that's you could PK.
Yeah, 1 point, well, not yet, but 1.2 mil experience, so I'm like a 10th of the way to 99.
You could PK, you just might not be like fully
I don't have a
optimized.
Slayer staff yet.
Yeah, I don't know, but I see a lot of people using the RPG.
Yeah, well, you use that like on baby Mauler accounts and stuff like that. So in this combat bracket, you're just gonna get your ass whooped by like some granite maulers and then some actual like Obby maulers that are like finished.
Fair enough.
Or like I guess staff. I actually have no idea what level you'd be for minimum staff of the Dead Pure.
Isn't that 70 attack?
Yeah, let me just like look up. Let me look up some shit real quick.
All right. You do your thing.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, they're kind of like around 65, so you wouldn't be seeing them yet. But yeah. So I have 75 strength, 36 range, 47 Slayer. So I'm halfway. I'm a little bit past halfway to 55 Slayer.
You're getting there.
Yeah, I'm getting there. The main thing is I did all the quests. I don't have to do any more questing. So I got, one small favor. I don't know what quest I said I had to do last week, but I got them all done. So like now it's all just pure Slayer grinding. And like, dude, it is so expensive. I had a 60 ogre task and I was using the bracelet of slaughter, I think it's called. It's one of like the newer bracelets that allow you to, when you get a kill on task. So I have an ogre task. So every time I get a kill, I have a chance to not lose kill count on it. So it just allows me to get a couple more kills.
You're trying to stretch these tasks out as long as possible.
Some tasks, yeah, you want to use the slaughter, and then I forget what the other one is, expeditious bracelet. That one is the same thing as slaughter, but it gives you a chance to like get you get a kill credit for 2, so you can go through shitty tasks faster, and the good tasks you get to kind of hold on to.
Mm-hmm.
So
I know a lot of people like main accounts, they'll be using, let's just say, barrel gloves, and then depending on what they want to do with their task right when they're about to kill it, they'll switch to that bracelet to either make speed their task up or slow it down.
Yeah.
Which seems like a pain in the ass to me, but if you want to do it, it's out there.
Yeah, there was, I don't know if they changed it, but at one point it was more efficient to just camp. You didn't have to even bring barrel gloves anymore. It used to be for like, let's just say like, I don't know, Necreals. That's probably not right. It's probably like I'm probably so wrong there, but there's some tasks where normally you would camp it. You can just AFK camp them, but whatever. Yeah, the thing is so on 60 ogres, I have 11 left. I've been using the slaughter though, so I've gotten like a good amount of free kills. I've gone through 1.8k cannonballs.
On 60?
Yeah. And I still have 11 left.
Huh. How does that happen?
So, and this
Seems like a lot.
Oh, dude, it's a stupid amount. It is a stupid amount. So the way cannons work, and a lot of people don't know this, so a lot of people believe that the cannon depends on what your range bonus is. So, you know, those accuracy bonuses, those attack style bonuses and stuff. The way, so it doesn't work like that, even though it gives you range experience. The way it works is that, let's say you have a whip, and you're on, well, all of them are slash, right? Every whip attack style is slash. So because you're on slash, your cannon's accuracy will be based on your slash bonus.
Oh.
So on the cannonable tasks, those tasks that you really want to AFK cannon, and you don't really care about melee experience, whatever, and like it's all about how fast can your cannon kill things, like Cal fights and Suckwas, it's more beneficial if you're using a whip to bring like a warrior ring instead of a berserker ring, because you get more slash bonus out of that.
Yeah.
So, and then it's the same thing with crush, stab. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it does work if you're on a range style. If you're on, like, if you have like a bow out, like you'll see, pures training with cannoning, and they'll be in full rangers with like a dark bow, and they'll have everything to give themselves the highest amount of range bonus because they're holding a bow. And, you know, at their level with their stats, they can't like have a higher, you know, slash bonus than a range bonus, just all the possible gear.
Gotcha. Just
because, you know, ranger boots, robin hat, ranger tunic, you know, all that good stuff. Yeah, so that being said, because I'm an obby mauler, I'm kind of forced to wear a fury with the tyrannical ring, obby maul, you know what I mean? So, and regen bracelet. But, so my cannon is very inaccurate because of that.
Do you have your ring imbued from NMZ?
Oh god, no.
Okay, I was like, started thinking, like, how hard would that be?
Okay, it's kind of funny.
Expensive, too.
I was looking into this. So, what you have to do in NMZ is, you have to bring your main account, and you have to stand in the corner, and have your main stand diagonally from you. So you're in a corner, just pretend you're in, like, the back left corner, and then there's a square, there's a 2x2 square. You'll be on the bottom left, main will be on the top right. You have to take certain monsters so that your main can actually just straight up block them. And you use your prayer or whatever so your main doesn't take damage. And you just sit there behind. And what people do is they use their main to almost kill something. And then you finish it off on your obby mauler with magic.
Okay.
But because I'm really smart, and when I first made this account, like 5-6 months ago, I just like splashed 50 magic.
Hell yeah.
Like, which you're generally, if you're an obby mauler, I've mentioned this before, but you want to use all your magic on killing hard quest bosses, really shitty Slayer tasks, and I guess NMZ. I've made up for it with the Slayer experience and whatnot, because I like did a bunch of other shit that was really, really tedious and took like fucking 20 hours, goddamn. But, so when it comes to NMZ, I've heard people say it takes 7 hours to imbue a berserker or a tyrannical, and then I've also heard it takes 17 hours.
Okay, those are two like completely
very
different. Both very long, but
one is like, oh, okay, I got a whole Saturday, I'll go do that. And another one's, oh, I got a whole weekend I'm gonna dedicate to getting this.
Yeah.
Like wake up on, like, you know, get back on Friday, grind till you go to bed, wake up early. But,
yeah.
And because I got magic experience, if I want to do that, I have to bring a fucking iron halberd. And I have to stand behind my main and then kill it like that. Which, yeah, it's gonna take a while. Take a real long time. I am fully quested though, so it is a possibility. I don't think I'm gonna do that because, one, I would never imbue my berserker ring, because you train with the tyrannical ring.
You can imbue that though.
Yeah, but I would probably, because here's the thing, once I hit 55 Slayer, like, I'm done training. Unless I'm like, I want to AFK something while I'm playing, like, some random game or I'm watching a movie, I'll train, but generally, like, I want to PK and then do risk fights and stuff like that, so I'd end up I'd imbue a berserker ring for PKing. Yeah, I don't know. Because it would definitely take me much, 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 much longer than 17 hours. easily like 24 hours plus.
Yeah, okay.
Because
Hey,
the main...
it's like getting your Slayer to 55 2 different times.
Yeah, and I have to do it twice. That's the issue if I want to have like everything done.
Ooh, yeah.
So, like, I might do it one day when I'm bored, just like test out the points per hour rates, I guess. But I really don't know. It's a very daunting task.
Yeah, I like how your mindset going in was like 55 Slayer, it's gonna fucking suck, but here we go, let's get fully optimized. And then you probably read that guy and you're like, all right, you know what? Let's get half optimized. We'll leave that part. We'll put that on the back burner.
Well, the main thing is a lot of the guides, the only guide I was like could actually read that like had a lot of information was from like years ago, and a lot of it's outdated.
Yeah.
And then like there's this guy named Graphist who's like he still might be rank 1 bounty hunter, where he's like a maxed obby mauler. Like his guide's pretty fucking shit, I'm gonna be honest. It's like,
ooh, whoa, calling out.
It's like you train on men till 40 and then go to sand crabs. Like that's pretty much the guide. It's like, well, fuck, I want to know like quests. I want to know like certain paths. Like I kind of want to know like I want like everything, but there isn't really that. Nothing that's up to date. But like, yeah, I don't know. I need to grind some money out. I need to grind a lot of money out on my main account. So I might just like spend this next week like spamming raids or something, hoping to get like a big like, you know, Dexter's scroll or something.
Yeah, that'd be fun too.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me though. What about you?
Let's see, myself. We'll quickly go through the real life. I hate like sitting on the real life subject for too long, just because
shit's boring.
It's not even relevant. Yeah, shit's boring, man. I went to my first hipster coffee cafe shop. It was interesting. Followed by my hipster vape store.
Nice.
Never been to one of those before. It was bizarre. So yeah, they tried to sign me up to classes on how to vape.
Bullshit.
Okay, maybe not how to vape, but how to make your own vapes.
Oh my god. Dude.
It's a class on how to fucking vape the sickest cloud, dude.
Sorry to interrupt, but I went to I don't know if you've mentioned this, I don't know if you brought this up to me, but when I went to the vape shop like this week, around like juice and stuff, I like was there gonna go get my stuff, and there's like 3 chicks there that like they've never vaped or anything. They don't smoke or anything like that, so they're really clueless. Mm-hmm. And the whole time they're like talking to the dude, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we want to get into it." And then I don't know what happened. The guy let me go buy my shit, and I went and like bought some of my shit, but I was still looking around, and I was also kind of like listening in just because I'm fucking nosy as hell. And because like I use it to quit, I have like nicotine in mine, and like so there's like 3 milligrams of nicotine, I guess, per bottle or something. I don't know how the dosages work. I don't know if it's per serving, like a bowl of cereal or something. But
per vape. No, I think it's per bottle. It says it somewhere.
But yeah, anyways, they each spent like 80 to like $150. And then they went and like they were buying their juices and stuff, and they thought the milligrams was like THC, like they thought they were gonna get stoned. And they're like, you should buy 12s. I don't want to get that high. If I want to get high, I'll just smoke a lot of 3. And I'm like, holy fuck. And I'm like,
is someone gonna tell them?
I'm like, hey ladies, you know that there's nicotine in that, right? I'm like, what? Yeah, there's nicotine in like 3, 6, 9, and 12. She's like, okay. Nicotine's in cigarettes, and that's like the addictive thing in cigarettes. Oh, you don't get high off that? And the guy's like, no, you don't get high. And he's like, oh, what gets you high like in weed? And I'm just like, holy shit. They all just spend so much money thinking they're getting stoned. They're like 6 months early. They gotta wait till like July before you can buy that shit in Canada.
Oh, dude, that's gonna be sick.
But yeah.
I don't even smoke weed anymore, but I'm excited for that.
But yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. I just remembered that, and it just
that's
baffled me on how careless people are with their money with something like that.
Well, I mean, with that shit, don't worry, we're not going to sit on the fucking topic of vapes for too long. But at work, I always have the people being like, you got marijuana in that? Just like pick an accent, and it's been everywhere. Whether you know what I mean, like
yeah,
there's every single accent on a fucking construction site. But anyways, yeah, that's a joke. It dies pretty quickly.
Yeah,
or like you'll be vaping there. You getting stoned there? Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I hear so much about these hipster cafes and stuff like that. I finally went to one. It was cool. So, yeah, that's enough of that. About that. Man, I had to bring my fucking car into the shop today because the engine light came on last week. No big deal. I was just driving. It doesn't matter. I was just doing something, and it popped on. Nothing changed. The performance of the car didn't change. No noise happened. Nothing. I brought it into the dealership. Boom. Fucking, they're like, you got to replace the gas tank, and you got to replace the fucking gas pump, and the valve, and the evap valve and all this shit. And I was like, oh, great. And they're like, it's going to cost you $2,000. And I'm like, wow, that's great. This car is like 3 years old. It doesn't make any fucking sense. What a shitty piece of crap.
Did you go to another mechanic?
Yeah, I got a second opinion. So they check it out and they're like, oh, they plug in their diagnostic computer, whatever, reader. And they're like, oh, you need to replace your O2 sensors. It's like, it tells you like the air levels within the gas tank or whatever, or within the engine. I don't fucking know. I'm not a car guy, so there's probably people out there cringing right now. But anyways, they tell me that. They're like, it'll cost you $400. And I was like, did you see anything about the gas tank? And they're like, no, we didn't. Nothing popped up about the gas tank. I'm like, can you check? Because the dealership told me, and this is kind of the important part, but the dealership told me that my gas tank imploded and there's like a 3-inch dent in it. And they're like, oh, we didn't see anything like that, but we'll definitely double check it. So now I'm sitting there being like, all right, so is it a $2,000 repair or is it a $400 repair? Do I get a third opinion on my car and end up spending like $400 worth of fucking, inspections? It's bullshit.
So what was the case? Who was trying to dick you?
So that's where that story ends. I'm not too sure yet. Because the main reason I brought it into the dealership was because my windshield washer, the fucking motor that shoots the sprays the shit out, stopped working. That's like $200 right there. And then I get hit with that shit. And then, that didn't make any sense. So I bring it to the other place. They tell me it's a bit cheaper. Then I'm sitting there being like, well, I would like it to be $400 to get that fixed. But then what happens if they were wrong and it was the fuel tank and I'm driving and my fuel tank implodes again? That sounds a little fucked up. There's my week in a nutshell. It's fucking rough stuff, I tell you.
Yeah, sounds pretty brutal.
You gotta do what you always gotta do in those cases. Just escape the pain away.
Yep.
So I've been doing some of that. I've been working on my diaries. I'm getting so fucking close to getting them done. I probably will have them done this week. So I got all my hard diaries done except for my Ardone and my Karamja diaries. So everything else is done, which is pretty sweet. So I got a shit ton of quests done as well. That also means I got my coal bag, because that's what I was working on last week. I was able to do some blast furnace, make some Addy bars. That wasn't too bad. People talked about how much they hate it, and I did it, and it wasn't that bad. Then again, it was only for like a level and a half, but still. I made like 2 mil off of it.
Not bad.
It's decent cash. I ended up getting that salve amulet because I had to do Haunted Mine for one of the diaries. I didn't have it yet, so now I'm currently working on imbuing it, and then I'm going to get the diaries done. And then I don't really know what I was working on before that. Maybe I'll just go back to leveling up my combat stats and trying to max out. I don't know. I'm not really too sure what to be working on after I'm done all this shit.
99 Slayer,
I should just get 99 attack and keep doing my Slayer tasks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Yeah, that was my RuneScape week, basically. Those diaries could take some time, especially when you get stuck doing quests and stuff like that. They always seem like they'll be fast, but the next thing you know, I'm fucking spending like all day doing them. I'm getting a lot of rune crafting experience from those lamps. Like, I'm at the point I gotta start leveling up my hunter so that my Tears of Gothic start going into my rune crafting again. 69 rune crafting, so that's decent.
Yeah, fuck it. Just keep putting your lamps, put everything you can in rune crafting. Saves you so much time in the long run.
Oh yeah, but I'm just saying the next time I do Tears of Gothics, I'm going to need to get my hunter up first so that that experience goes into rune crafting.
Just do some red chins till 73, and then, whenever you want, you can do black chins. That's really good money as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Good money, and it actually might be some fun if I'm able to buy like an AGS or something and just try to anti-PK.
Yeah.
Knowing my luck, I'll end up coming back and be like, fuck, I've lost like 2 AGSs this week.
Yeah. I got hacked.
Yeah. Fucking tried typing my password out.
Yeah.
It turns out, surprisingly enough, it's not asterisks when you type your password out in chat.
Damn, I've been fooled.
A little bit of a throwback there. Meme as old as time itself, isn't it?
Yep.
Hunter 2, baby. Going strong. But, yeah, I think that's about it. I don't think I got much more to talk about. And then I'm splashing on my pure.
Oh, true.
Like I said, you kind of got me that pure itch. I want to get 85 magic. I mentioned this before, just so I can be kind of cheesy and do some telly blocks with the god spells.
Mm-hmm.
I remember a long ass time ago. I don't know if you even remember this, but there was this fucking, I don't even think it was a YouTube video. You had to download it off a RuneScape forum.
Yeah, I think we talked about this in one of our first episodes.
Oh man, that video got me like that. That was probably the video that introduced PKing to me.
Yeah. Don't want the guy that's just like running around killing people with full mystics, right? Or like a black G helmet or some shit.
Yeah, you get people to skull on him and had Paradise City in the background, and then it had that Disturbed song. Can't remember which one that was. Liberate Your Mind, or just Liberate, I should say. Yeah. All right. Anyways, shall we hop right into it?
Yeah. Let's get into the news.
All right. Okay, let's see what we got going on this week.
All right, so this past update, I guess, it was focused on Fossil Island improvements because we know how trashy that place is. It's a big garbage dump.
I like Fossil Island.
It's pretty bad, but
it has potential. It has potential.
Yeah, and so these are some of the improvements they've added to it. So the first one is a mini task list. It's been added to the archaeologist camp, documenting your exploration of the island. When you complete these tasks, you'll be rewarded additional fossils to start your display cases. Some of the action on the mini task lists were already being tracked in-game, and they'll be ticked off for you already.
Nice.
Yeah, so you get a little start towards claiming some extra fossils. The task list can be accessed via the notice board located right next to the general store in the little encampment. So that's really nice.
Cool. Okay, right on.
I think that's very necessary just to have a little progression like type thing. So if someone wants to complete everything there, they can. But yeah.
It's kind of weird that they don't, like, there's a lot of these things like that you would kind of assume would fall into, like, the mini quest section. They have a bunch of mini quests that you could do within the game that unlock shit, and yeah, I feel like there's a few things that should be in there that aren't, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it's just me, but there's a few other things that when I was doing these diaries, I was like, I feel like this should be a mini quest.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was, though.
Along with that, they made some birdhouse changes.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so when you dismantle birdhouses, you'll now get the clockwork that you used to build the birdhouse. And this will apply to the seeded houses before it catches anything, so you don't have to worry about losing that stuff.
Cool.
It'll apply if you dismantle the birdhouse before the seed supply is exhausted. But in these two cases, no other item will be returned, so you'll not be able to dismantle the birdhouse if you don't have enough space for the clockwork. So just making it so you can't lose items, I guess. Or lose your extra shit. I don't know. It's whatever. I don't think it's that big, but whatever.
There's probably some people out there like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know how much money I lost from that shit?
Yeah.
You know how much a clockwork's worth?
I have no idea. I've honestly never made a birdhouse. I don't care for like passive hunter experience. It's not even that good. But all tiers of the birdhouses
not good yet.
Yeah, yet. All tiers of the birdhouses can now hold up to 10 birds. And the higher tiered birdhouses will yield a chance of nests and seeds.
Oh shit, there it is.
Yeah. higher tiers of birdhouses have been introduced for maple, mahogany, yew, magic, and red logs. So the maple birdhouses require 45 crafting and 44 hunter. You get 35 crafting experience. The mahoganies need 50 crafting and 49 hunter. And these give you 40 crafting. The yew houses require 60 crafting and 59 hunter, and they give you 45 crafting. The magic birdhouses require 75 crafting and 74 hunter. You get 50 crafting. And the redwood birdhouses require 70 or 90 crafting and 89 hunter. You get 55 experience. So they added, a new tier, I guess. Some more tiers.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think the idea behind them was like Fossil Island seems as meant to be like you go on Fossil Island and you kind of just dick around doing these activities to gain experience in these different skills. And the idea of these where like you place these down, then you go, I don't know, wood chop some of those suliceps? Yeah,
yep.
The sulicep mushroom trees. And then you get a full inventory. You come back and check these or whatever it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Supposed to like be able to passively, kind of like how you do with farming. You do it every now and then. You do this with the birdhouses.
I feel like the most use these birdhouses get is someone's like, oh, fuck, I have a fossil wyvern task. Might as well do my birdhouse while I'm on Fossil Island. They go do that before their task or something.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I feel like I'm a little out of the loop with that one.
Yeah. I think, though, the most important thing with these new birdhouses is new seed. Like, you're able to get seeds and nests. So it is pretty nice for Iron Men.
True. Good call.
Yeah, just a nice little passive way to get those. And it rewards you with, having higher crafting and hunter. Just nice. Yeah, they also made some changes to the underwater agility and thieving area or activity. You're no longer rewarded directly with experience. So it used to be where you would do the activities and you would just keep getting experience as you did it. Now the activity will give you the glistening mermaid tiers. So the glistening mermaid tiers can be traded with Marin for experience, and the player can choose agility, thieving, or both. So that's cool. Pretty nice. You can't cash in more than 700 tiers at a time, and attempting to exchange more than 700 will result in the surplus tiers being discarded.
Ooh.
Yeah, once you start getting like 695 and up to 700, you'll be like warned every time you get a glistening tier that that will be the case. I don't really know why 700. I don't even know how long it would take to get 700. I'm assuming it's either like a numbers thing in the programming or like there could be some way to abuse the experience. I don't really know though.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. 700 is a weird number. Like,
yeah,
why not 500 or 1,000? I don't know, but Jagex has their reasons, or sometimes they don't, and it's just like they pick a random number. But whatever.
Yeah, maybe it could be like an anti-botting measurement. I have no idea.
Yeah, the bot just crashes when it sees a number 700.
Yeah. Yeah, they also made some changes to the drift net fishing. So Cedo will now allow players to permanent access to the instance drift net area for a one-time fee of 20,000 Nummulites.
Oh shit, Nummulites are going to be going up.
Yeah, I'm going to actually, let me peep the prices right quick of the Nummulites.
To the moon, baby.
As of right now, they're 19 GP each, so.
Oh shit.
What was that? 380k-ish? If you're buying them at 19. Yeah, for permanent access. So a new mermaid has been added to the drift net cave, and she can hold on to your spare drift nets to help you save space. You can give her noted and unnoted nets, and she can hold up to 2,000. And she'll only give them back to you in unnoted form. The collection screen for the fish caught in your drift net now display an option to bank your whole catch for a cost of 5 Nummulite. You can't bank puffer fish, and no Nummulites will be taken if banking isn't successful. So you shouldn't have any of these fish in your bank, or you shouldn't be able to bank any of them.
That seems like a pretty, overall, that's a decent buff to the drift net fishing.
I mean, I've never done any of these tasks in Fossil Island, so I don't even know how big of a change that could be. Like these could be like game changers. Like, oh man, drift net fishing might actually be good to do now. People might be thinking that. I have no idea, because I don't know. It's for like lower level players, I guess.
like mid-level players. I think that was the kind of the appeal of Fossil Island. You had things that were, we talked about it before, but a lower level to sit there and let's pretend Arty Knights were a lower requirement to do. But that can get pretty boring. And it's easier for a higher level to sit there and spam click, but when you're a lower level, it's a lot easier for you to get burnt out and quit the game because it's not as much for you to do. You're kind of grinding for those hard, like we can take a break, go PKing, we can go bossing, whatever it is. There's a plethora of different skills we can go work on that are kind of fun since we were at those higher levels. But when you're at a mid level, you're kind of cornered into just training them up. Like that in itself is kind of fun to watch the progression. But you know what I mean? Like if you got bored of thieving, it's just easier to get burnt out at lower levels because if you're already bored then like by the time you're level 70, it doesn't get much better.
When I was like level 80, I grinded barrow gloves and then got my fire cape at like 85 or something. Like I kind of planned it all out where like I would skill and whatnot, and then if I got burnt out from skilling, I would go grind out quests and level up my range a bit to like 75 or whatever it was for the fire cape and stuff. I mean, it's always a good thing to do. Have like multiple tasks to kind of swap between.
Yeah, some of like those things you mentioned, there are great goals to kind of have going at all times, just because if you ever do get bored of what you're doing, you can go, okay, I'm going to go do some questing and stuff. But like, I'm just saying from personal experience, because I've quit this game. Like I started day one when Oldschool RuneScape came out, but I've quit like probably like 10 times in between then, because I was at these points where it was just super easy to get burnt out. And I wasn't at a point where I was like, oh, but look at my bank. Look how much money I got. It's more the lines of, oh, I got this hard clue that requires me to get this specific level for this thing. Let's go grind it out. Week goes by and I'm just like, I think I'm going to go fucking, I don't know, play League of Legends or whatever game I was playing at the time. Mm-hmm. Anyways, what I was trying to get at is Fossil Island gave you different alternatives. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of these tasks aren't just sitting there spam clicking an NPC to pickpocket them. It's like swimming around this obstacle course, searching these chests. Mm-hmm. And the drift net fishing, something similar, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they made some more changes, which are long overdue, which is the Fossil Island Wyvern changes. So they made the Fossil Wyverns defense from 120, they dropped down to 90, so it's the same as the Skeletal Wyverns. And then the Ancient Wyverns went from 220 to 150. I tried killing Ancient Wyverns on task, and even that is like you get 1 or 2 kills in inventory.
Is this recently or before the change?
No, this is like before the changes. This is like shortly after they came out.
Oh, they were pretty extreme.
You can now purchase a task block option from the Slayer rewards, so you'll never get assigned a Fossil Wyvern. 500 Slayer points needed, though.
That's interesting.
You can disable and re-enable the assignment, and you won't have to, like, once you unlock it, you can disable and re-enable to your leisure.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, Fossil Wyverns they're shit.
I mean, like, what do you think about being able to block them with Slayer points instead of the traditional way of having your 5 or 6 different monsters you're able to block and having to put it on there?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely good because the Wyverns, you get them, at least from Neve, like, or Neve or Steve, depending on, if you did Monkey Madness 2 or not, but,
wow, spoiler alert.
But,
I'm supposed to say it beforehand, not afterwards.
Yeah, well, spoilers. Like, you get them at like, they're so rare to get that, like, it's not worth putting it on your block list. So yeah, I don't really know. I do like this because it was like a new monster they introduced and they kind of realized it's like, the shit monster. I think they added this for like, oh, I don't want to kill Skeletal Wyverns. I want to camp Fossil Wyverns. Like, I want to add like an option, but like, they're just bad to kill. They're just awful to kill. I mean, they're probably good now. But they were like super bad to kill because they were like so hard to actually like to kill. I'm going to keep saying that word. But, and like, you got nothing out of it really. I don't know. I'm going to actually like start doing these just to see how it is. Next time I get on task, I'll go take them out. But yeah,
Yeah, why not? I think it's interesting. What do you think about them in the future releasing more monsters that you can block with the having like it won't, like if you block the new monster, it won't fall underneath your block list. It'll be its own separate point system.
It depends on what monsters it is. Like if they did it for trolls, I'd be against it. Like if they add new monsters that you can get on task, then I'm for it. They add like spiritual elves or some shit, right? And it's the same thing as wyverns, where you're like, oh god, they're so hard to kill, and they don't, then of course I'll welcome it. But yeah, if they add the options for
they're expecting people to get them at lower levels, like the wyverns, and they're like, well, I can't kill these right now. So then they block them, but when they get to a higher level, then they're like, you know what? Maybe I will kill them. Maybe I'll get lucky and get the wyvern visage, because that thing is still sitting. I think it's a little bit over 20 mil right now.
Yeah.
Still, that's good money, but it's super rare to get, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, I think, like, I'm okay with it if they only do it with a new type of monster, like a completely new type of monster. If it's like black demons, trolls, fire giants, I'm kind of against that, because that takes the whole point of, like, a block list.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, let's go on to the, I guess, last major change. The mycelium pool, I think that's how you say it. I don't know. They made some balancing changes. So the chemical process used to calcify fossils into enriched bones is now complete at a 1-to-1 ratio of calcite to phosphite. Phosphite. Whoa, I don't know why I messed that up. Weird. Anyways,
he's having a stroke.
Yeah, so previously there was a 1 in 3 chance of the calcium being deducted alongside with a separate 1 in 3 for the phosphate. So it was a 1 in 9 that both would go down, and a 2 in 9 that just the calcium would go down, and a 2 in 9 the phosphate would go down. And you know what I'm saying. So it was like really weird, just the whole process of it. So they changed it down to a 1-to-1 ratio. The experience obtained from all forms of the enriched bones on the strange machine in the house has been increased by 5 times. So the small bones will give you 500 experience. The medium bones will give you 1,000. The large is 1,500. And the rare is 2,500. So they gave a nice experience buff. I think some Iron Men do this as a way to get prayer experience.
Well, you just get, like, extra ones, right?
Yeah. Well, like, people will camp this for the prayer experience. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I've never done this process. I mean, I think I like sold my small fossil set for Nummulites because I didn't know what you did with them on day 1, like hour 1.
True.
So I've never cared for completing Fossil Island after that.
Now's your chance to cash those out.
Nah, fuck it. Yeah, so other changes though, they made it so Implings can now spawn on Fossil Island. The volcanic mine shop sells volcanic ash at 40 points per item. Tar monsters now inflict even less damage with both their standard attacks and their AoE. Additionally, the left click option on Hoop Snakes is now used, which should let you stun the tar monsters. Hoop Snakes now have twice as many spawns, and they respawn at a faster rate. The deranged archaeologist has been moved to a location found south of the Suliset mushroom woodcutting area, and players chopping Suliseps will find they are no longer inconveniently forced to the southwestern side of the area. And using Super Glass Make will now reward you of the correct amount of crafting experience when giant seaweed is used. It was previously 10 experience, but now it'll be 60.
Right on.
So some pretty good changes, made within Fossil Island. So I heard there was a way to get experience lamps in. Do you know anything about this? Getting experience lamps within Fossil Island?
Maybe? What do you mean?
So I recently found out about this. So when you complete exhibits, because like I said, I've never done fucking any. I did the quest and that's it. I did the quest, looked around on the day of release, and was like, this place blows, I'm out. And I came back momentarily for Dragon Slayer 2 spoilers, but I don't know anything about Fossil Island, but I was told that you can get experience lamps from completing fossil collections.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
So,
I believe you're right there.
Supposedly you can get 120 or 150k. I think they buffed it a bit. I think it's like 150k, but I'll just say 120 because I know that for sure.
Whoa, that's nice.
Yeah, so
that's a solid like a level or two in rune crafting.
150. If it is 150, that's like 1 to 55 in a stat. So that's to put it in perspective.
Might have a limit, sort of like how you do with the achievement diary lamps.
Yeah, you'd have to probably be 30 or higher, but like just to put it in perspective, 1 to 55.
Yeah.
Just in general. That being said, I'm assuming you could just like do Sulisep cutting. I'm assuming. And you get the fossils and then you put them in the cases and you get experience lamps.
Not bad. Double the experience.
And I've been thinking about this for my Obby Mauler, instead of training range, to do this instead. Like, instead of getting my ranged up, well, with cannoning and stuff like that, and slaying and whatnot, if I could just camp Fossil Island on him and get all the lamps, I wonder how long that would take.
It would probably take some time.
Yeah.
Like, maybe for that, it might just be more worthwhile just to keep you doing what you're doing, but I don't know. Unless you want to get your agility and thieving up, or you want to get your hunter up. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about that. Like, yeah, it doesn't really matter. Just like a random thought that I've been toying with. I was just wondering if you'd ever done any of that stuff, but I guess not.
I recall getting like a lamp or something, but although maybe I was just watching a stream, or maybe I just read about it, because I don't remember filling out a fossil case. I do have a handful of fossils that I need to turn in, and I have turned in a few before, but I don't recall that specifically. I do remember, and like, this is something that you guys should try to fill out your fossil cases, because I don't know which mod said this, but I remember reading on Twitter or something that they have plans, or they would like to release some sort of demi-boss in the future that requires all your fossil cases to be done.
Oh, really?
Yeah, something like that. So maybe a new tier of archaeologists. We can get a third boss. Insane archaeologist. I don't know.
Shit, I really don't have to do that now, but I might. Fuck it. Yeah, anyways. So in other news, there isn't really much to talk about besides the colors and symbols on imbued god capes have been changed to be more consistent with the other capes.
Cool.
They look sweet. The new capes look sweet. Have you seen them?
I have one. I don't see what they reversed the color. Yeah, okay, true. I was sitting there looking at them being like, because they have the picture on the dev blog, and I was like, don't they look the same? I don't remember the Zamorak cape being, the W being black and the cape being red, but I guess it was. They look better. It was kind of stupid to have it the other way.
Yeah, they look pretty sweet now. All right, so they have a little thing called What's Coming Up, and it's pretty much, they just say that in February they're going to have a dedicated to quality of life updates. I think they do this like every year. It seems they have like 1 month dedicated to quality of life updates.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, they've adopted a formula of consisting, of weeks of dedicated to PVM, weeks dedicated to skilling, blah, 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 and they're going to do like a month to quality of life. Yeah, they want, you to leave your suggestions on the two subreddits, R2007scape and R Oldschool RS. And also the forums as well.
Yeah, because those exist, by the way.
Yeah.
You can use don't worry guys, you can use the official forums too. We'll have somebody look at it when they're in the washroom or something, but they will look at it. Maybe. Just go to the Reddit. It's sad, but If you want to get attention, you go to the subreddit and try to gain traction early on.
Yeah. RuneScape will be turning 5 on the 22nd of February, and they have a 3-hour stream planned. So yeah, be ready to check that out.
That's sick. I know I saw on one of their Q&As they mentioned like in RuneScape 3 they have their you get a cape for how long your account has been playing.
Yeah, okay.
So there's like a 5-year, a 10-year, and I believe they have the 15-year now. Something like that. Or a veteran's cape. They have these capes that you can get. And I know old school RuneScape is very much against having these one-off items or these items that aren't necessarily available to everyone. Because, you know, if you look at the discontinued items, how they went up in price and it got to a point that's just RuneScape 3, they're pretty fucking ridiculous. And, you know, you have items like the Scythe in RuneScape 3, which is untradeable, but like, it's really cool for the people who have them. But at the same time, it does kind of suck that there are items that you'll never be able to get, no matter what you do.
Yeah.
I mean, I see both sides of it. Like, it's just cosmetics. You shouldn't really care. But then maybe at the same time, they're worried that you could potentially sell your account just because it's got the Scythe on it for a lot of money.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the main issue. I don't know. But anyways, with old school RuneScape, they don't really do it that way. All of the holiday events, if you do it the next year and you missed one, you'll get all of the rewards from all the past years. So you're never really missing out on it unless you just decide not to play during Christmas or something. Anyways, the reason I bring this up is because they talked about what should they be doing with the 5-year anniversary. Should they give out a 5-year cape to all the players who've been playing old school RuneScape since day one? Or, because there's two ways of, if they wanted to do that, which they don't even know if they want to do it that way, there's two ways of doing it. It's how old your account has been like since your account has been on old school RuneScape.
Mm-hmm.
So if it would have to be on the day one of when it came out in order to get the 5-year cape.
Yeah.
Or do they do it the other way of doing it, which is an easier, is how old your actual account is. So if your account, let's say you haven't played old school RuneScape, but you play RuneScape 3 and you've been playing it for more than 5 years, you could log into old school RuneScape and claim your cape.
I mean, are they going to have a max cape version of this? That's the thing. Like,
just a cosmetic cape.
Yeah, I feel like everything gets
new best in slot for everything.
Yeah, I think everything gets turned into a maxed cape version, though. It's really ridiculous.
That is something that, like, I don't know, this is kind of off topic, but yeah, it is a bit ridiculous where, like, you can put your fire cape with it. Even though there's an Inferno cape now, you'd expect the fire cape, max cape, to kind of get voided out. But
Arty cape.
The problem is, the Arty cape goes into it?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, the problem is, though, is people, they do work hard for that max cape, clearly, and or they buy it. But anyways, it is a hard cape. It's the hardest cape to get in the game, you could say. And I can see how if you have a max cape, like, you should have these options available. But at the same time, like, yeah, I don't know. Whatever. It's just weird to have all, like, 20 different options.
Yeah. Well, Max Cape is fucking overpowered as hell.
Yeah, you get all the perks from all your fucking skill capes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's only, like, fucking 2,000 people with them, so whatever.
Yeah, but still busted as hell. Free teleports to your home, to the nearest banking spot. It's fucked. Anyways, we'll move on, though, because no one cares. So they have a little update on the OSRS mobile, and they talk about data usage and the battery. So they have a little YouTube video.
Shit.
They have a little YouTube video of someone walking around on mobile. It's kind of cool. It is like, if you haven't seen it or you don't care to watch the video, the mini map is in the top right as always. Your chat options are like on the top of your screen now, instead of on the bottom. Like, think of it as they just flipped it where, yeah, it's all on the top, with like your, social options to be like on the very tip top, and then it drops downwards to your middle.
Yeah. They did that because when you go to type in it, if you play games and stuff like that, your keyboard always springs up from the bottom.
Yeah.
So this way, if you can still see your chat screen, and then you go to type, your keyboard's going to pop up.
Yeah.
And then you're not covering the chat with your keyboard. So yeah, it makes sense.
The UI is like split into two, and it's on either side of the screens. It's kind of cool how it's all set up.
Yeah, I agree. What's kind of interesting to note is like you kind of have like more combat. Well, actually, it looks kind of random, but you have your attack styles, your prayers, your magic spells on one side, and then you have your inventory, equipment, and then your stats on the other side.
Yeah.
You have some of the other options mixed in within them, but I wonder if there's going to be any like not exploits, but kind of weird things where like, you know, let's say with PKing, you can now have your special bar open and your inventory is going to be able to open in the same screen.
Yeah.
If it's going to be like
that won't be an issue.
Make
though.
it easier.
Like it won't be.
Well, I just wonder if it's going to be a little bit easier to do some certain things on mobile compared to the PC.
No, I don't think so. Mainly because prayers and attack style and magic is all on one side, but they have that. So like, because if you're PKing, generally, I mean, I shouldn't say generally, if you are PKing, you should be using F keys. So you can, in your options, you can bind F1 through 12 to like which, tab, your attack styles, your inventory, like all that stuff. You bind them to certain Fs ones and stuff. And what you would do is you have your weapon on the second bottom row, your spec weapon on your second bottom row of your inventory. So what you do is you can like either hover over it and like get ready to left click, or you can right click. For me, it's F1, but I hit F1. I'm in like my attack styles. You can left click to equip it and then, you know, instantly spec. And there's no way in hell that'd be possible on mobile if like the UI was set up exactly like PC clients. There's no way you could spec in like one tick and stuff, but with this setup, you're still able to. So I think that they really took into account of like all aspects, like even switching gears. Like imagine having to hit your inventory, tap 4 pieces, tap your prayer all with one hand, switch your prayers, and then like tap to a spec. Like you could not do that fast enough. So you can kind of do it with like 2 thumbs now, I guess. So like the way they have the UI setup, I'm actually like a big fan of it. It's obviously not as advantageous as like a computer, but you're not at a complete disadvantage. It's still like pretty fair. You're still able to like one tick and stuff.
But to me, it looks like for some people, yeah, you have the F keys and stuff, but it's still like I'm looking at this and I'm like, I'm able to spec and switch to my weapons. Like you have your 2 thumbs on either side of on each side of the screen. Boom, change your Gmall, spam the spec with your other thumb because you have the 2 tabs both open. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but on computer, it's like, boom, spec. Like it's so easy. As opposed to,
it's easier to mess up because you're not looking at both of the tabs at the same time. You got to kind of like you need some practice with this one. You can kind of you can kind of look at it and spam it with one thumb, spamming that up with the other thumb, and boom, Bob's your uncle. You just got yourself a kill. Easy as that.
Yeah, I mean, if you have your spec weapon in the right place, like you'll be fine on computer.
Okay, well, I'm calling it. Give it a month, and you're gonna have some people being like, "This is bullshit. It's so much easier to do these specific tasks on mobile than it is on PC because of the 2 different UI setups."
Well, that's already been proven with like enchanting bolts and stuff like that. Way easier on mobile. People like play RuneScape on a touchpad or like a touchscreen laptop, and they'll do it to enchant bolts. You can get like 500k experience an hour easy, like 500 magic experience an hour easy, because all you do is, and you're just tapping on 2 parts of your screen, and like it'll be the same thing with mobile, of course. Where like,
but I'm talking about like with the 2 different UIs, like the 2 different interfaces specifically. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, there'll always be some sort of like exploit or like benefit you'll have. I mean, just in general, with different UIs, you'll be at different advantages.
I just hope that you're not going to be doing one task on your PC and then you're like going to do this other task and you're like, it's probably better if I log off my computer and hop on my phone to do whatever task this is. You know what I mean?
Well, there already will be, like cleaning herbs and stuff like that. Like I guarantee, cause like what I do is I do my daily boxes and then like once a week I go and just clean them all at once and it takes me like 10 minutes of clicking like a million times. Like if when mobile comes out, I'm gonna go take a shit and just like quickly tap through my screens. It'd be way easier. Like you just have two fingers just running up and down your inventory. Like there'll be like big benefits to mobile.
But I just mean it in the fact that like if you'll still be at your computer, but you'll be playing RuneScape on your phone, on your office chair still, though. You know what I mean?
I'm wondering if they're going to add shift dropping. Have we talked about how they're going to do that?
I don't think so.
Because I wonder. Like shift click would be.
Maybe they wouldn't, because then that's just like two thumbing. You know what I mean? Like, well, maybe that's where they're going to draw the line for. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, who knows? Anyways, we'll actually go and talk about what they do in the phone though. The app will actually be 30 megabytes.
Okay. Yeah.
So currently, the mobile uses 103 megabytes of data per hour of full gameplay. This is a test scenario. The real world may be different.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not a whole lot. I know there's a bunch of other games that take a lot less, but RuneScape's a pretty massive game.
And they do mention that the reason why you see so many turn-based games on mobile is because that's when the data's sent after each turn. It's not like you're idling and constantly sending data. With old school, you're constantly going to be sending data because it's updating, every 0.4 seconds.
Yeah. I just wonder if you're doing something like wood cutting compared to like something where you're teleport. I don't know, just doing something that's more active and you're running around the map more.
And sound, if you have your options enabled, that's probably one thing. Probably not, but it could be one thing. Music and stuff. Like there's a lot of little random variations. On average though, your battery will drain between 8 and 12% per hour while you're playing.
Oh, wow.
It says,
I was going to say,
that's not that much. So Tinder uses way more than that. I'm going to let you know that for sure. Like Tinder is way more heavy on your phone than RuneScape, which is super, at least on my phone. I don't know. That's not too bad. Like if you have an hour commute, you know what I mean? A quarter of your battery's gone, up to a quarter of your battery, up to almost a quarter of your battery. At worst, almost 25% of your battery will be gone in a day. But they did do these tests on a Samsung S8 and a Razer phone, and they're going to be testing on other phones and whatnot. So it will vary. It's not super set in stone.
But even still, that's not very much. There's tons of things that like drain my battery like so much more intensely. And let's say 12 hours. If I played RuneScape all day at work, I'd still have 4% when I got home.
The thing, like music, like Spotify drains your battery a lot more than you'd expect. I'm not saying more than RuneScape, but like if you have Spotify going and RuneScape going, like your battery will fucking die. But like, given the fact it's a fucking MMO that like takes you like 20 minutes to run from like, I don't know, Yanil to like Lumbridge, probably takes you more than that, or maybe less. I don't know. Like it's a pretty big game, I guess, if you're running the whole time with staminas. Like I don't know. It's updating in real time. There's so much to do. You'll be doing Slayer and shit like that. I don't know. Hopefully it's not that big of a deal.
Oh yeah.
Worst case, you can always buy one of those phone battery jackets where you just like plug your phone into like a special case that has an extra battery on it and it charges your phone.
Oh yeah, those are great.
Yeah.
Buy a good one, because I bought some knockoff ones and they fucking break so fast. On a side note, you know what doesn't drain your battery that much?
What?
Listening to pre-download podcasts. Would you look at that?
Catch at the Wilderness Podcast. Go to twitter.com at the Wilderness Podcast. Go on Facebook. Wilderness Podcast. little self-promotion. I mean, I that's probably a really bad idea, because if you're listening, I hope you know kind of what podcast this is. Anyways, though, that is it for the news.
Unless you're listening to it on satellite radio. Yeah. One day they'll be playing the archives on Sirius XM.
Yeah.
We'll be coming on right after Howard Stern.
I'll have like my family in the car and like, Danny, who's this Deagin guy?
Sounds like a loser. You're just like, fucking, you guys are grounded.
Just like immediately stop the car.
Get out.
Go back to Zara. I want to see both you on Zara on your phones. Look at that, bringing it back.
Drop 'em off at
RuneScape
the library.
Mobile.
Go back to rune crafting. Oh yeah, there's gonna be mobile out. They don't need to go to the library.
Yeah.
They just play it on the phones.
Anyways, that is it for the news. Enough about beating my kids because they're not playing RuneScape on their phones while I'm making them listen to my podcast.
I hate it. I was grounded with it blasting. Oh boy. On a side note too, well, not on a side note, but to add, they'll be sending out, well, they say they're going to be sending out the beta invites for the end of this month. It is the end of this month, so we'll have to see what's going on there. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Someone said that they got an email from, like, I don't get emails from Jagex on either of my, I have multiple emails.
Yeah.
Like, I've never...
This is something that I'm going to be bringing up afterwards, but yeah, I mean, I do get emails, and this is an older account, and I log in with my username that I made back in 2007. So, but I still get an email to my account for that account, so it's not like I'm logging in with that email. So I've linked it at some point. So maybe you need to do that?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I searched for RuneScape. I spelled it wrong. Whoops. Okay. And like the last time I reset my password a year ago. Oh wait, that's a phishing email. It's not even the actual RuneScape. Like, see, you know what I mean? So yeah, I gotta go figure that out. I checked like all my emails and I don't get anything. I might actually just be like deleting them and not realizing it, but who knows?
That's what's sketchy is like you get these phishing emails, and then the thing is, so I got this email. Again, I'm going to bring it up later because it's not really too relevant right now, but the email address is no reply at a.runescape.com.
Oh, wait, is that like a legitimate thing? Because is that legitimate?
The email they sent me looks legitimate, and I'm looking through it right now, but I'm afraid to click any of the links now that you mentioned that, because I'm looking at the email. It's
RuneScape. That seems like a fucking phishing.
a.runescape.com. This is probably some fucking terrible podcast content right now, but
yeah, we'll just cut it out.
Dig into this a bit.
We'll just cut it out if we have to. Yeah, so it sounds like I'm getting hacked. Just like download a rat or something, start fucking your computer, start lagging out.
Fucking anonymous jumps onto this shit.
Oh, you know what? I had it set so RuneScape doesn't send me news. Yo, did you know you can link your RuneScape account to Facebook?
Yeah.
Have you done that?
No.
Yeah, I don't think I'd ever do that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely
Deagin
would.
played 18 hours of RuneScape today.
Yeah.
Fuck.
After you just blew off some plans with
this?
some real life friends or family, you're like, oh, no, I can't. I'm, I don't know. I'm busy doing something else. And it's just like, he gained 3 levels in woodcutting playing RuneScape.
I got a date tonight. He can hit 99 Hunter.
Nice.
Got a date with Jagex, baby.
Going back to those emails, again, always be super careful when it has anything to do with emails. And this is why I cannot believe they're sending emails with the beta codes. Cause like, it's like you're playing Russian roulette with that shit. But anyways, I Googled no reply at a.runescape.com, which seems kind of sketchy, but apparently that's their fucking email account. And the one that people are getting phished by is no reply at a.jagex.com.
Oh.
And then if you want to report phishing, please report it at reportphishing@jagex.com. What the fuck? They make it so hard to not get phished.
Yeah, I know.
They send you legit shit with at runescape.com. But they want you to send them stuff at jagex.com. But if you're going to be but the phishing sites have at Jagex. This is so stupid. And people wonder why.
Yeah. Yeah, anyways, do we have anything to chat about?
Yeah, I got a few things that I want to talk about maybe that I kind of saw going on within the community this week. First things first, the RuneScape soundtracks are going to be coming to Spotify and iTunes. Or iTunes.
Damn, dude.
Yes, that's pretty sweet. Although it is not all of them. They had a survey that you were able to fill out, and they would kind of select the most voted on tracks to put on Spotify and iTunes. And they're also going to be releasing a vinyl record with those soundtracks on them.
Dude, so I can bump Sea Shanty on, like, the bus?
Yeah, you could. Dude, you could DJ RuneScape tracks. You can get 2 vinyl records and start scratching and mixing them. How about that?
Yeah, it'd be pretty dope.
That would be pretty sweet. But definitely Sea Shanty's going to be on there. No doubt. But anyways, that's kind of cool. It is both our RuneScape and old school RuneScape, so that should be interesting. Anyways, besides that, Mod West, he posted on both the subreddits and Twitter. He kind of, it's not a dev blog, but he made his own. He came up with some new spells to add to the Arceuus spellbook. He did somewhat of a write up with it, and like, pretty interesting, and a lot of different spells. We talked about it before, where he released some of the icons with the spellbook, and yeah, these are some of the spells. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at these.
No.
I'll just quickly go over them, and you can, I guess, give me your opinion on them, because some of them are kind of different and unique, and they're kind of cool, and most of these are just like concepts. The numbers might be there, but really it's the idea that would work or wouldn't work. The numbers can always be tweaked, right?
Yeah.
All right. So first things first, they want to combine. Right now, the Arceuus book is filled with different summoning, like they're like summoning spells, where you summon these monsters with an ensouled head, and you're able to kill them for prayer experience. So there's a bunch of them right now, but he wants to kind of bring them all into 4 different spells, which is one of them is level 16 basic reanimation. This would give you goblin, monkey, imp, minotaur, scorpion, bear, or unicorn. Then they have adept reanimation, which is dog, chaos, druid, ogre, giant, elf, troll, and horror. 69 is grand reanimation, which is Calphite, Dagonoth, Bloodveld, Tazar, and demons. And lastly, it's 86 with expert reanimation, which would be Aviances, abyssal creatures, and the dragons. So he wants to kind of condense them all to make the spell book have room for more spells. So the first ones that he has here are called the resource boosts. There is a small, so when you're gathering resources, there is a small chance that, sort of like a random event, that there will be an evil sprite to spawn when the resource is diminished. If you cast the spell Sprite, which is the first one, you will be given a temporary boost allowing you to receive double the resources with no extra experience gained. And then the second spell is Harrowing, which would give you 50% chance of noting the resources. So a chance of a Sprite to spawn would depend on the resource. So the example they give here is there is a higher chance of an iron rock spawning a Sprite than there is of a rune rock spawning a Sprite. All right, so the aim was to increase the profitability of resource collecting via the magical skill.
So is it like, what I'm thinking of is like Evil Tree 2.0, like from woodcutting, right?
Yeah, it seems like the idea is one of those would spawn, maybe not maybe where the tree is, but it would spawn for a second, and that would be your chance to cast your spell onto it to receive the bonus resources for the next minute, 2 minutes. I don't know. He doesn't have the time there, but that's up for, I guess, the Jagex mods to kind of tweak and play around with. But what do you think of that idea?
I don't really like that, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah?
Reminds me too much of like divination. In terms of like divination is a skill in RuneScape, but like when you get it like leveled up, you were able to drop, like, you could go to the Grand Exchange. What I did when I played RS3, I'd go to the Grand Exchange, be like, hey guys, this rock is going to be dropped, and can everyone help me? And people would gather around, I'd drop it, and everyone would start mining it. And like every time someone mined, like let's say it's coal, I would get one that was noted.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of sounds something like that, where like, oh, spirit spawned, let me go get some noted or like boosted. You know, let's say you're at like U trees. You're like, oh, cool, I get more U's now for a minute. Maybe if it was at minnows, the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's kind of weird that we already have enough resources coming into the game as is.
I think the problem is a lot of these resources are coming from bosses and monsters and not from the actual skills itself or the AFK skills.
The main reason why they've done that though, like there's two reasons why I think they've done this. I don't know if it's like set in stone, if they've admitted to it, but like my theory, I guess, is one, it's to combat bots, and two, people would rather kill a boss than skill. Mm-hmm. It's not, I don't want to say generally because there are skilling communities and like, but I mean, you know what I mean? Like if you have 6 hours a week to play or 7 hours a week to play, would you spend those 7 hours cutting a tree where, you know, you get like 700 magic logs, or would you go kill Vorkath where you can walk out with like 7 to 14 mil depending on your stats and what you have?
I don't doubt that there's people out there who enjoy woodcutting. But I feel like 99% of people, that even the people who do enjoy it, it's more of satisfying to get the levels and to get the goal that you're aiming for, that like the actual action itself isn't very fun. You click and you wait for a log to pop up in your inventory. I'm sure there's some people who like generally do enjoy that. They sit there and probably watch their inventory, but it's got to be like a very small percentage,
like 3 people.
Yeah.
Like, so, but generally, if you're woodcutting, you're AFKing, you're not looking at the screen. And depending, like, if the imp spawns for, say, 5 seconds, how long would it spawn for? What do you think would be a fair number? Because when I'm AFK woodcutting, I have to make sure I turn on sound effects to hear a bird's nest drop, because I will never see a bird's nest on the ground.
Yeah, that's so true.
I will see bird nest, and so like I go, oh fuck, but I guarantee you if I was botting woodcutting, I'd have every single bird nest that had ever dropped while I was botting. And same thing with this animate thing. If it's up for even like 30 seconds, a lot of people are gonna miss it because you're just gonna be AFKing the whole time. You're watching something, you have a kid that you're taking care of, like you know what I mean? Like you're not actively playing while you're woodcutting, and you shouldn't actively be playing when you're woodcutting.
Yeah, that's fair.
And like, if you're a bot, I mean, dude, bots are more efficient than people. Have you seen, like, there's a YouTube channel, I don't want to say his name because I'm against botting, but like, the bots are more efficient than me. They get more experience per hour doing a skill than I do if I'm AFKing and shit, because they're, you know, it's a bot. That doesn't get exhausted. It doesn't have, you know, to masturbate every 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I have a kid, but there are people with kids that are like literally feeding their kid while they're woodcutting, and they have a kid show on the other monitor. You know what I mean? They don't want to like toss the kid on the ground. Just, okay, sorry, I gotta click my Arceuus spell. Sorry, sweetie, I know you got a dent in your head now, but like, you know what I mean? Like,
I got this bird nest, so it's okay.
Yeah. Oh, an oak seed. Like,
yeah,
an acorn. Fuck yeah. Like, I don't know. I do feel like the majority of the players are casual, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
oh yeah, definitely.
I think that's one thing that like Jagex seems to really neglect. Even, I don't want to go on a tangent, but even going back to like when you made that offhand comment of, if you need to get in contact, make a post on the subreddit, which is like really silly. And I like to compare it to like League of Legends, Riot Games. They like did a whole overhaul where they changed like the core basics of the game and how you obtain like their end game currency. And people are really upset. And they claimed that like casual players would still be able to make enough currency to like buy new champions, but their definition of casual gamer was playing 3 hours a day.
Right.
Where in reality, I'm only saying this because in reality, like a casual gamer is not playing it every day because they can't. Like the average, if you're a casual RuneScape player, you don't have time to play every single day. There's times you go, oh fuck, when did this update come out? You know what I mean? Like, oh, I played this game for 4 months and I've never gone to Zia. Like, that's the average person, because like they don't have time to, like, with their limited time, to go and explore like everything. And I'm just saying that because, like, if you're AFK woodcutting, like, you don't want to feel like you have to be there giving it more attention, because like you might get double resources or noted stuff. I don't really care too much with the noted stuff, because like it's only going to be useful if you're out somewhere in the middle of nowhere, but even then it happens so infrequent, it's not a big deal. I'm hoping it's so infrequent, it's like a random event chance.
Yeah,
like
and it says it would be lower the higher the resource was.
I'm just going to assume that it'll always be like a genie per hour. You know what I mean? Like, you're not really going to get it that often. If you do get it a lot, I do think that's even worse. I just find it's weird that, like, yeah, I don't know. It benefits the wrong people, I think. But that's my little ramble on it.
I do think there is room for something like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think they could make resource more fun and interesting. But, like, I do think, like, Ents is really cool. Like, Wilderness Ents. If you have, I think is it the hard diaries? I think it's like a hard or something. Maybe it's just how it is, but, because I've never killed them myself. But you can kill Ents, and you can woodcut them for noted, logs.
Oh, yeah. They're always noted.
Okay, yeah. So it averages 400 to 500k an hour, generally. If you're safe spotting them and all that stuff. So it's good money that's semi AFK, not really, because you're in the wilderness and, you know, you actually have to go, like, harvest the logs from them. Mm-hmm. But that's a really interesting way to get the logs. I know you don't get, like, you know, good woodcutting, or you don't get woodcutting experience or any of that stuff, but, like, if they have something similar to that, but for skills, like, you know, the things on Fossil Island, which I think, like, those kinds of having things for, like, oh, this would be cool because you want more resources. This is cool because you get experience and it's kind of fun to do. Instead of, like, this arbitrary, yeah, at some point you might get double the money for, like, you know, a minute, or you don't have to bank as often for a minute.
Yeah, fair enough. All right,
but,
well,
yeah.
If you like that, then you're going to love this one. Foul Flame is the next one. So quickly, the idea he puts here is using expensive runes instead of a tinderbox to create a fire may seem a bit silly, but this is no normal fire.
It's a bird.
Yeah.
Is it actually?
No.
I was just making a stupid pun, because, like, foul, F-O-W-L.
Oh, I get it. That's funny. Okay, I appreciate that.
Maybe not.
That was good. I'm glad you explained that, because I thought you misheard me. Anyways,
no.
So, food cooked on this fire will become corrupt. Corrupted food restore prayer instead of health and does random damage between 1 to 3 hit points. When the fire is extinguished or runs out, instead of leaving ash, it leaves shade. Shade is a stackable resource used for the spell Sinister Offering.
Are you saying shid?
It's shade. S-H-A-E-D. Shade.
Oh, okay.
Shade. I'm probably saying that wrong. But anyways, it's tradable. Okay? So, when used on a log, a cursed fire will be created. When this fire withers, it leaves shed instead of ash. I don't know why it says it twice. But anyways, summarize it. You make a fire, cast that spell on it, and then when you cook food on it, it becomes corrupted, and you can eat that food, which will restore prayer, but it will hurt you every time you eat it. What do you think about that?
I'm trying to think of, like, good uses for that, for the prayer thing.
I'm thinking it could be good for monsters that drop food, and you find yourself praying against them. So you can bring a log with you. What do you think of that?
It's definitely a good idea, and I don't think it's a bad, like, I think it's a cool little thing.
Mm-hmm.
It would kind of it would kind of drop the prices of prayer potions and restores. Maybe. Like, I can't really think of, like, a practical use to kind of rely on that type of food. Like, it feels like if you're gonna use it, you're gonna have it SGS with you, so you can heal up. You know what I mean? I feel like it's not maybe it's an alternative for someone who doesn't have enough money for prey pots, or like Iron Men, that they don't have the resources for prayer pots.
That's a good point. It's a good point.
But I do think managing your herbs and stuff on an Iron Man is pretty fundamental. It's pretty crucial. Like that's what prevents you from a level 70 Iron Man to like a level 100 plus is like managing and like putting the time into farming and herb lore and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do think it's cool. I think it might be a little hyphy or not hyphy. It's the opposite. The iffy for Iron Man, 'cause it might like kind of make it a little, I don't want to say easier, but easier for Iron Man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's cool, but I can't think of any uses for it. So because of that, I can't think of anything that would make it super like bad or like detrimental. You know what I mean? I can't find any practical use, and I can't find anything that would kind of fuck something over. It's interesting though. It's a really interesting idea.
Yeah, it's a cool idea, definitely. I'll go to the next one though. This one is Resurrection. So, for a while now, people have wanted necromancy to come into RuneScape, or we've talked about it before, people are kind of wanting summoning into the game. Some people want summoning to come into the game, whether it's through a skill or something else. This is kind of what that is, without it being as broken as summoning is. So this one, he has 4 different spells out, so it's not like a whole, plethora of different minions you can summon that will do all these funky things. So anyways, so the undead thralls you bring forth will not follow you, and after a set amount of time of inactivity, the thrall will return to the mud the thrall will return to the mud. While in a multi-combat zone, the thralls will attempt to attack whatever you attack. They are, however, limited as they can only use melee. There's a few items here that he has, but I'm not going to go through that.
What do you mean, what items?
So he has, like... Okay, sorry, let me just say, Resurrection costs prayer points and also requires a minimum... thus, it requires a minimum prayer level. He has a few items here that you can kind of use with, like, this is where it gets kind of confusing for me to understand because, anyways, you'll see in a second. There's 4 items here that you can kind of use with this spell, and they kind of have different effects. So, Imbued Heart will double the thrall damage. A new item called the Necronomicon. I think it's a new item. I haven't seen
Necronomicon,
it before,
yeah.
That gives you 12 plus magic, -4 prayer, but it gives you 1 extra resurrection.
So you can have 2?
Possibly.
Okay.
Necronomicon page, which is used to resurrect, can be stored within the Necronomicon. So it looks like you're going to need an ingredient to summon these things, which is what the page is going to be. So that Necronomicon is going to be where you can store them.
Similar to the Tome of Fire and then the burnt pages?
Yeah, kind of like that. And the Staff of the Dead will have the prayer cost that it requires. So, the first one they have is Resurrect Ghost, level 23. The max hit it can do is 3. It has 25 hit points, and it will cost you 6 prayer points. The next they have is level 38, Resurrect Skeleton. Max hit will be 4. It will have 30 HP, and it's going to cost you 12 prayer points. Level 57 is Resurrect Zombie. Max hit 5, health points 35, and it's going to cost you 18 prayer points. And level 68 is Resurrect Anku. Max hit 6, health 40, prayer points 24. That's what it's going to cost you. At level 50, you gain 1 extra resurrection, and at level 80, you gain 1 more resurrection. So he says right here, this is certainly going to be a controversial group of spells. So not to waste time attempting to design every possible feature and allow you, the players, to come to an agreement on the best course of action. But potential ways of balancing is undead thralls can only be resurrected in set locations, as in certain altars, graveyards, etc. They will be blocked in PvP zones, and requires a non-stackable item to do so. This would make them a lot less practical, because if you want to do it multiple times, you'll need to bring, like, you know what I mean? You have to fill up your inventory with this item.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? It gets controversial when you start giving, like, I find my problem is like with the resurrections and then the double thrall damage with imbued heart. You have all these other things that kind of make it iffy. Personally, if they just had it set like that and just kind of tweak things, that's kind of an interesting idea.
What's the thrall max hit though?
So it goes 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay. And then you could have potentially up to 3 extra ones in total. 2 with max level, and then 1 with an item. Let's not even pretend the item exists, because let's be real, the item probably won't go through. But, like, if you could have 3 guys doing up to 12 damage at a time. See, I don't know, because there are bosses in multi-combat zones. I feel like it would kind of mess a lot of things up, especially with Slayer. I think it makes Slayer way more weird, and it really depends on the set locations would be a benefit, but do they move with you when you teleport? Because you could potentially go to like Sire. And Sire, you use stamina potions. You know what I mean? When you go, if you're doing like the teleport to house, method that I mentioned, when I was grinding Sire, you could potentially have 3 guys dealing 12 damage with you on Sire, or like Thermo. You know what I mean? Like these random bosses that you typically jump in and out non-stop specking them, and that would boost kills I don't know. I feel like it's super weird.
That's the thing. I felt like he tried to iron some of the kinks out by having, with these items, these things will happen. And at level 50 with the extra resurrections. And here are some other tweaks that I'm thinking of. But really, I think that just kind of makes them seem a little bit more problematic. If we just look at the spells themselves, you only summon the one. He also said after a certain amount of inactivity, they would disappear.
Yeah.
So how long is that? Is it 1 minute? Is it 10 seconds? You know what I mean? Do you have time to run to the next boss? Mm-hmm. Or if just running to Sire, is that going to cause him to disappear?
So what if you could bring him into NMZ with you?
Looks like you'd be getting your Berserker ring imbued.
Yeah, depending on how much. Well, I have one prayer, so I wouldn't even be able to use it. But
yeah, fair enough.
You could summon 3. I guess they probably would die quickly, I guess, with their health, because they have low. Like, do they get focused at all? Like, that's the thing. There's so many questions, and it's weird.
Again, it looked like Mod West was taking a dump one day, and he was sitting there being like, I don't know if you ever do this, but sometimes I do this when I'm at work. I'm like, what if I was a dev, what would I bring to the game? And one time I was bored and just thought of this new skill called underwater swimming. Stupid idea. I won't go into it. Maybe one day when I iron the kinks out more.
Yeah.
But it seemed like he did that, and he was like, actually, I might try to propose this. And then, yeah, because the thing is, being able to summon 3 different ones, that's a little bit crazy if you ask me. Summoning 1
My
should be okay.
issue is that okay, wow, on paper the spells are pretty shit, but coupled with the Toxic Staff and the Necronomicon and and the Imbued Heart, then you're like, oh fuck, that's actually really good. I would prefer it if they just had, these guys have 50 health, 8 max hit. You need 80 magic and 70 prayer to cast them. You can have up to 4. Yeah. I'd still be really against that, but that's better than they're completely useless for low level players. And for high level players, you could find some really broken methods with them. And the whole rich get richer, shake my head stupid meme is kind of true though, where if you have a max cape, you immediately have you should, because you have a max cape, but you have a teleport to your house and a teleport to like the closest bank, you know, between a teleport and you and the bank. Like you have like, you know what I mean? You have like, it's so busted that like, it's just kind of like, some more of like you need to be useful.
Like I said,
you need 20 mil.
Yeah.
I do
we won't sit on like the fine details, but as like a concept of an idea for these spells, take away the items, take away the extra resurrections, but like let's just look at the spells themselves.
Yeah.
What do you think as a concept?
I think as a concept, it's kind of cool to have like some sort of necromancy thing. I would prefer, honestly, like more of like utility based, like pack axe. No, I'm totally kidding. That's stupid.
I was gonna say,
I'm
are
totally
you fucking kidding me?
I mean, like, it would be cool if you could summon like someone to give you more run energy, but it saps health and prayer. I mean, like, just like, it's not literally that, but I mean something that like doesn't benefit you in combat and Slayer, like something that benefits like you're running around questing, so you bring some shit that like, you know, this dude helps with, you know, I don't fucking know. Like something with like just more of like
how about this?
A utility based thing instead of like a combat based thing.
What if you could summon an NPC and you could tell him to run somewhere and you could just follow him? So you could be in Varrock and be like, you summon this dude and you're like, I want you to go to Falador, and then you could just follow him all the way there. You can go take a piss, come back, and you're in Falador.
See, I actually like that because it's a practical use for low-level players and not high. Like, I haven't walked from town to town on my main in, like, I probably haven't done that in, like, a year. But if you're, like, a low level and you don't have, like, teleport to Camelot and you're, like, you have a death wish, you want to go through Ice Wolf Mountain, and you're, like, Falador, and you did some really tedious prerequisite that would allow you to, like, follow a guide, and then you die, you wake up in Lumbee. No, but like, I mean, I think it'd be cool to have it more based on like random utility things. Like,
I think having these in the game could open up to something that you're talking about, but that gets a little bit harder because now you got to start thinking what would work, what wouldn't be useless. That's where it gets more tough, right? Because even when you look at these straight damage ones, they're either, you know what I mean? Like RuneScape falls into this thought process where it's like, is it meta? Well, it is now. Okay, everybody do it. If it's not meta, don't touch it.
Yeah.
For the most part.
I just find that like if you could have, even if it's quote unquote dead content where it's like completely useless and like boring, I guess, if that's the better than like, hey, let's add more things to combat. Cause like, let's be real. Every update has been PVM based. Even PKing updates are PVM based, like revs, bosses. Like they don't do updates that are like skilling where they add like shit to like the wilderness and it's like now you can go skill in the wilderness, cool, which is Hunter, best EXP and GP per hour from 73 up, like go to the wilderness. Like I would instead of adding more shit to like straight up PVM, where like this could help you kill bandos more kills per hour or whatever. Like I would prefer something that like, hey, this could help you with some quests. You know, you summon a butler that gets you a pot because you forgot an empty pot because you're watching Soup's Guide and now you're really angry. You're in the middle of nowhere. No run energy. Like,
yeah. I don't know. I'm sure there's room for that, but so are you yay or nay for these four?
As of right now, nay.
Whoa, easy now.
Not because
I like that.
Not because it's like summoning 2.0, just because it's like I don't want to see combat based shit. I want to see like something more unique, I guess, something different, something that's like, oh, that'd be cool.
All right, well, hold on to your horses because we got some more. So you say you like combat spells, eh? All right, well, next we have I guess 3 different types of spells. The first one is called Demon Blade. So these spells deal double damage when used against demons. So you have level 24, 44, and 62, Inferior, Superior, and Dark Demon Blade. And the max hits go 8, 12, and 16. So they do double damage against demons. What do you think about that?
I want to say it's OP because of Skatizo, but I'm pretty sure I want to say Arclight is still better because it has lower
Oh yeah.
It has lower base defense, and it's the highest stats Skatizo has is magic defense magic defense and just magic defense armor. Does that make sense? Like he's got his highest stats magic level, and his highest defensive is magic defense. Yeah, I do think that's kind of cool because in free to play, at least the best, I mean, this isn't free to play, but like translates to like, let's say you're, you want to go kill some shit on like a mage and you want to get magic experience by killing stuff. You would go like kill demons because demons have negative magic defense. At least lessers do.
Damn, look at you. Pulling that right off the top of your head.
I know, okay, so greater demons have -10. I think lesser demons are like -10 or -7. Let me look this up as well. Just want to double check. Okay, yeah. So demons in general are -10 besides Skatizo, but
yep.
So like I know at least like when I was on my free to play account, I wanted to train magic for a bit. I would mage Hell Giants, but you could also mage lesser demons if you're just in it for the experience. Because so like Demon Blade, what I'm saying is like Demon Blade would hit like all the time because it's a -10 defense on, say a black demon. Let's say you have a black demon task and they, you don't have gorillas. Hey, you could actually maybe even bring them to demonic gorillas. I didn't even think about that. Change it up a bit.
Yeah, because normally we see magic being kind of like the odd one out. It's more of a utility. With the staff of, the toxic trident of the swamps or whatever, you kind of see more uses with it. But still generally does feel like the odd one out, especially with fucking range being the end-all be-all for the most part for many different bosses and monsters because of that blowpipe.
Yeah. I actually do like this, though. I think it's kind of cool.
All right.
Yeah, I can't think of anything that's really that busted. It helps, if you're grinding black demons and greater demons for those rune pieces on an Iron Man or something.
Sure.
Yeah, you could do that, I guess.
So next we had Demon Blade. Next we have Soul Blade. The damage of these spells is dependent on your prayer bonus. The lower, the better.
Is that it?
Oh, sorry, I was just reading something.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if that was like the whole description or not.
Next we have, let me see. So they have level 35, 56, 72. Again, inferior, superior, and dark Soul Blade. And the max hit so I'll go in, lowest to highest. Max hit for the first one is 8. And then for every negative prayer bonus, +1 damage. The max hit 10 for every negative prayer bonus, +2. Max hit 12 for the last one, and every negative prayer bonus, +3. So, kind of a bit weird, the wording they have it there, but let's say we saw this spell come into the game, it kind of opens us to have a new set of mage gear. So he's proposing as well some gear called temporal gear. And with each piece, it will bring along with it a -1 prayer. He's thinking that the mage stats would be similar to Mystic, and you would just get negative prayer.
And they give... So, I got a question for you. I got a test for you, okay?
Oh, fuck.
And I'm really happy that this popped in my head when you're saying this. Do you know if there's any items in the game right now that give negative prayer? Can you think of any?
Yes.
Don't Google it.
There is... Shit. Come on, Dylan. You're better than this.
There's one that I can think of. I had to double check it, to be honest, but there's only one I could think of. I haven't really looked around.
Okay, shot in the dark here.
It's a popular item. It's my hint. It's a popular item, and it makes sense. You go, oh, that makes sense.
Okay, I'm just take a shot in the dark. What is the ancient mace?
Ooh, close. The ancient staff.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah, the ancient staff gives -1 to prayer.
Oh wow, is that the only item?
That's the only item I know of. There might be some more.
Interesting.
But like I remember like about to go PKing with a buddy, and I looked, I'm like, am I negative prayer? What the fuck? Took off all my items one by one. Staff? Googled it. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, that's kind of cool. And then when you're mentioning, like, wait a minute, could you just use this with the ancient staff? And then you start talking, I thought like that's what the only use was. And then you start talking about these negative prayer armors. And you're like, oh shit. So it scales up on damage per negative. And then there could be what, was it like how many pieces were there?
3, each give a -1. Again, all of these are tweaks. These are mainly just concepts. So, yeah.
If there's 3 pieces with the staff, it's 4. And then it just works on everything. I mean, I think that's kind of cool. I don't really know what you'd kill with it, though.
Yeah, me neither.
I do think it's kind of cool, though, because see, I like it, but then there's a thing called pray flicking.
Ooh.
Where prayer bonus doesn't really matter, because if you have good enough ping and you have good enough rhythm, you have a bazillion prayer points.
This is true.
I don't know. I do like the idea, though. I will say that. I won't go into the nitty gritty of like, it's abusable. I do think it's a cool idea. I'm kind of for more of like them exploring this type of an idea.
Okay, fair enough. And lastly, for the combat spells, sort of, called Ichorbane. These spells ignore magic defense if your target is stood in an adjacent tile. So basically, if you're in melee range, it will ignore their magic defense. So level 43, 64, and 85. And the first one is max hit 14 with 10% of the damage is applied to you, the person who casts it. Next is max hit 20. Again, 10% applied to the person who casts it. And last one is max hit 26. 10% of the damage is applied to the user who casts it.
It's kind of cool. I'm kind of curious on like how much more damage these do with like Mystic Might up and not even like max bonus shit, but like an Occult and Mystic Might. Augury would be nice. Yeah. Like with the whole Demon Blade thing and Demonic Gorillas got me thinking like you have Augury and like a Occult and you're shredding them.
But they're shredding you too. With no defense.
Yeah. I mean, I do think it's a cool idea because, like, you're standing next to them and you're taking bonus damage. And yeah, I guess it's cool. I don't know. I can't think of any good applications of it, but
fair enough.
Might be good for safe spotting worldly bosses, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know though.
Gotta have some of those. Anyways, we'll move on. Next is combat aid spells. So the idea of these is to give you kind of some boosts while also having a drawback while using it. There will definitely need some balancing to find the sweet spot in between overpowered and completely useless. And again, this one probably will be controversial. So here we go. First one. Oh, you're going to love these ones, okay? Level 80, Berserk. Drastically lowers the user's defense stat while increasing damage by 15% and but also prevents teleporting while active. This lasts 30 seconds. So it's sort of like how Vengeance works, but it lasts for the entirety of the 30 seconds. What do you think?
Is this like, I kind of feel like this is just a PvP-esque spell.
I mean, you probably could use it for bossing. Or something. I don't know.
I don't know. It sounds kind of interesting. Is the user not allowed to teleport, or is the person being affected by it?
Well, I think you can only cast it on yourself.
So when you use
it's gonna be like Vengeance. You cast it, and it'll cast it on yourself. It'll lower the user's defense stat, increases your damage by 15%, but prevents you from teleporting while it's active, and it lasts 30 seconds.
That sounds kind of busted.
The problem is rushing. You cast it, wait till there's like 15 seconds left on it, rush someone, teleport out anyways, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
50% is a pretty big number to add.
It's a big one.
Especially when you can, like, get Gmauled, you know what I mean? Declawed from full, pretty much, like that. But you can't, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird. I wanna, like, hear, like, I'd like to hear some other opinions and, like, what it would really change if that was a thing. Just the whole concept of, like,
squirrely.
Yeah.
Alright, well, next we have level 89 is Sacrifice. When you cast it, it lowers your max hit points by 30%. Incoming damage is reduced by 15%. And then every attack heals the user by 1 HP. This lasts 15 seconds.
It's
interesting, isn't it?
That's kind of cool. That'd be kind of busted for bossing, though.
Yeah, or monsters we are able to stay at a low health hit points, because that's the thing. Like, if you're at a low
like
hit
raids?
points, you cast it.
There are some bosses, like Vasa in raids, I know, very picky. Like, it's a very choosy boss. There's one boss in a raid where you want to stay at a low HP.
Okay.
But I do think, like, something with, like, raids, but, like, Thermo, Sire as well. Like, I'm just using those because, like, that's something you don't really need supplies for, but also, like, with, like, Sire, sometimes you're like, fuck, I gotta cast a Blood Barrage here because I'm getting hit a lot for some reason. That would completely negate that.
Yeah.
It's the whole healing aspect. I know that's, like, kind of crucial to, like, it being a good spell, but that does kind of, like...
I think the problem is, like, the blowpipe. You hit so fucking fast with that thing. If every hit point's healing you 1, that's a lot different than if it was the Abyssal Tentacle or the Abyssal Whip healing you 1 every time.
Yeah. Like you know...
Yeah.
Granite, or not a Granite Maul, like Obby Maul or whatever, something slow.
Yeah.
My thing is that, like, it would really take out, like, I don't know, it would change the meta a bit too much. It would be, like, really, I think it'd be really overpowered, to be honest.
Yeah, we have to see how it goes.
And, like,
I don't know.
Sort of keep going on, but what happens when the effect goes off? Do you have to heal up to 30? Like, do you gain that 30 health back, or is that gone? Because that's really important, too. Because if you're, like,
I guess so.
like, let's say you're NMZing, like, or not AFK and Gothams, let's say you're doing, like, Bandos or some shit. You kill the boss, you cast that spell, swap to your Guthans, you're healing up to 66, okay, now you swap to your actual good gear. Boom, 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 it's a free 30 that's guaranteed healed back. Yeah, I don't really know too much about that. And even, like, same argument with, like, Sarah, where you'd kill the boss, you would cast that spell, pull out your blowpipe, finish off all the minions and heal up a bunch, and then if you get that 30 health back, like, busted. It's really, really strong.
Interesting idea, though.
Yeah.
Last one they have in the trio here is Sinister Offering, converts all bones in the user's inventory into prayer points. This would cost Shed to cast. Could have a variant that uses ashes dropped by demons. It's interesting. That one's kind of...
Is it, like, as if you're burying them?
I don't know. Just converts all bones in the user's inventory into prayer points. So I don't know if it's one per, but just the concept of it. I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah, definitely interesting.
Okay, cool. And then lastly, we're almost there. These are just other spells. These are just random ones, kind of random ideas he thought of. 47 is Shadow Veil. Similar effect as the Dodgy Necklace. So lasts for 30 seconds and could stack with the Dodgy Necklace. The Dodgy Necklace, when you're pickpocketing, you avoid getting stunned when you fail. So this one would stack and give you, I guess, higher chance of that happening.
I mean, I like it. It kind of would be a huge buff to the Arty Knights. I know those boys love hands in their pockets, but, like, it's the whole thing with, like, the imp or the spirit, whatever thingy. I don't know why I said imp, but, like, the first spell is that...
Yeah, Sprite.
Yeah, the Sprite. The biggest benefit would be people who bought it. Does that make sense? Because you're going to be using that.
Yeah.
I mean, generally, if you're pickpocketing, you have, like, mouse keys. Just bound to plus.
Yeah, that's true.
And you're doing what you kind of tune out that sound while you're watching something else or whatever. And, like, you might not get the full use out of it. It is really strong though, so I don't really know. I think it might be a little OP, especially if it stacks with the necklace. And if it's runes, you can put into a rune pouch.
Oh yeah. But the next one they have here is Dark Lure, level 50. If an NPC is retreating, this spell will pull them back towards you. So the example they give of an NPC that retreats is the Implings. Kind of how they can kind of wander over water and stuff like that, and it gets kind of annoying. You can pull them back, keep them in combat. It's kind of like a taunt in other MMO games.
Chompies?
I don't know. Yeah?
That'd be really nice for chompies.
Interesting.
Killing chompies is kind of a bitch until you get mediums done. Hit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you have low range and stuff, but yeah, until you have your medium westerns done, chompies can kind of be a pain. I was doing them on my Mauler, and none would drop, and then boom, 6 dropped, and I'd lose 4 of them because my range is so low.
Yeah.
But it would be kind of cool, let's say you want to just be really efficient with the chompies or, imps, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
You could use the imps specifically to catch them and get imp in a box much more easily.
Sure.
Same thing with Chinchompas.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably just want to kill the Chinchompas though with a bow. Just put it back on.
I don't know all the uses, that's the thing. So, but it's an interesting idea.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the uses. It does sound kind of cool. I don't know. Something else I'd like to hear other people's opinions on and kind of see what else it would really affect.
Yeah. The next one they have is Tenebros Tie. Weird name. This spell converts prayer points into run energy. It would scale on your agility level.
I like that.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, cool.
I fucking hate having no run energy.
Oh, don't we all? And lastly, level 73 Cleanse for a hefty rune cost. Cleans all herbs in your inventory for half the experience. And you can only clean the herbs you have the level 4.
You don't get the herblore experience and stuff?
You get half of it.
Okay. And it costs a lot of runes to cast?
Yeah, he said it would be hefty.
I mean, I think that's kind of cool. I have no issues cleaning herbs, though. It's pretty quick. And with mobile coming out, it's going to be even easier.
I mean, it does get I can see how it gets kind of tedious to be a lot easier if you just go boom, one spell, all done, bank them, pull the next ones out, boom. Because I don't know if you're like me, but I bank all my herbs until I have a shit ton, and then I'm like, oh, I need some potions. Let's make them all at once.
Yeah, I'll have 1,000 and be like, all right, let's go. And they just from NMC.
Yeah.
And then I just clean them. But it takes not even 10 minutes to go through 1,000. I can get through an inventory in 10 seconds easy. It's so fast. Yeah. And on mobile, while you're taking that dump, even quicker. But
fair enough.
I mean, I do think it's kind of a cool concept. Let's say you're handicapped or you, I don't know, have carpal tunnel. Or you just can't be bothered. Those are all valid excuses for the spell. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I agree. It's interesting. I like some of these. So that's all of them that they have there, but a lot of these are pretty cool. I would like to see some new spells coming in. I don't they need to be tweaked for sure, but yeah, interesting. And I'm glad it's just what a dev came up with on his own time. So obviously, they're gonna, if people wanted it, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get this pulled, maybe a handful at a time, but all the other devs would go over it and try to make them fit, give their opinion. I hope it's not like Majorina 2 where they're just yeah, I haven't even really looked at your update, but let's just put it in there. I'm sure.
Or RevK's, which is the fucking most counterproductive update ever. Sure. But whatever. We won't go on about that again.
So it's a cool idea. I'm not going to go on a tangent. I will quickly bring it up. I have this notebook here that I have, and I have these whenever I thought our show would kind of be going a little bit slower than usual, which it never fucking is for some reason, but I guess we're just pro ramblers. Anyways, I have these topics that I'm like, oh, I'll bring this up one day. I'll bring this up when there's not much news going on, but apparently there always is. But quickly go over is a lot of these things are cool, but RuneScape, comparing to other MMOs, it seems like they have a problem with doing nerfs. They they wait way too long to do a nerf or a buff, and then they just try to do it all in one go, where they're just like, all right, here's the number. But when you compare it to most other MMO games, every time they have an update, they have a shit ton of nerfs that come with it. I know they're not as frequent as RuneScape, but there's like always nerfs that come with the next patch or the next update that they do in their game. And normally, over the course of 3 different updates, you'll see the same thing get nerfed like 3 times because they do it in like increments. So they do it like once, they see how it affects it. Oh, it's still too strong, nerf it again. Oh, it's still too strong, nerf it again. But it seems like RuneScape or Jagex does this thing where they wait a lot longer to do a nerf, and then they just go, boom, one giant nerf to hope they can sever its head, and it's either a lot of damage is already done, or it's still not enough, but it's kind of
becomes a Hydra. Like a couple heads grow back.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So the reason I bring that up is because with a lot of these are cool, but I just get worried when we see these things that they just instantly become dead content without having like, okay, we'll tweak it, 5% damage here or 1% damage there in the next upcoming weeks, where they just keep slowly doing it. I'm always worried that it's going to be like they watch it over 6 months and they go, oh, the necromancy's kind of dead. Let's just double the max hit. And then you're just like, well, now it's way too fucking strong. Why couldn't you just take it a little bit slower?
Yeah. The only thing I can think of why they don't do increments is because people tend to manipulate Reddit, Aram staff situation, to get buffs for their own personal gain. Aram staff, there was a guy who had like so many, like over like 60,000 Aram staffs or some shit. And
yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, he memed about how bad they were. They finally got like a really big buff, and then he made a shit ton of money. And his original thing was like, it was bad. It did need a buff, but he only pushed for it because 1, it was kind of fun to make a meme about it, but 2, why not make like a couple, 100 mil? You made like a bill off of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
but like,
that's the scary thing with like incremental things, is that there's a lot of like money that gets like the prices go up. Like for any new item or any item that's buffed or nerfed, like you see people panic sell or panic buy, like these knee jerk reactions cause like a really big change in the market. So it is kind of like scary to do that consistently. If you're to like say nerf Fire Surge, because people have a complaint with that right now, especially Obby Maulers. I hear them complain all the time about it, so I'm just going to say a Fire Surge. If you're going to nerf like Fire Surge 4 damage in total, but to do it over this like in 2 separate patches, that would cause the Wrath Rune to drop heavily twice. Even if it's such a minor change, people have a knee-jerk reaction. They go, well, it sucks now, and they just dump all their shit, which causes people to go,
yeah,
oh man, Wrath Runes are like dropping. I have so many from Vorkath. They dump them all or from, rune crafting, and it causes prices to drop, and then like it drops again, and it can completely hurt the price of something for like ever. Like look at sharks. You know what I mean? They're already like what, like 650 again? Like sharks are like completely fucked in price. Like they're super cheap. And so like that's like the only negative I can think of, is just like the economical aspect. One thing I want to know is like I can't confidently say that like developers focus on one thing. Like they don't have a PvP focused developer or PVM or skilling focused developer. I feel like they all kind of do whatever they want. You know what I mean? Like, was it Mod Wolf seems to really like making quests, so he just kind of makes quests and see if people want them to be in the game, and gets really upset when they don't. If there's someone set to like balancing, you know what I mean? It would make sense on like it's kind of unreasonable that they're not up like fixing things fast enough. But if everyone can kind of do whatever they want in their time in the office, that's probably, no one wants to spend a whole day seeing if something should get nerfed or buffed, especially if it's a bad call.
Yeah, there's just things that like you can kind of see have problems, and even with The Dragon Hunter crossbow, it went from being a 10% damage boost to 30% in one patch. Well, it's going to be.
Yeah.
And it's just surprising that they don't do it in like 5. Again, like they have to pull it, so you're gonna has to be significant enough. But yeah, I don't know, just something I was thinking about. And then this made me think about it, where like I would love to see it, but then I would hate to see them bring them in and then just leave them as they are. Or I don't know. That's just where things get iffy.
Yeah, I do think the whole polling aspect does hurt the game when it comes to balancing. That's why they don't pull nerfs, because they never pass. And I don't think they should pull buffs either. I think they should kind of say, hey, if we were to buff this, which aspect would you want to see? Because we believe it should be like this. Does that sound about accurate? And if they say, no, don't buff it, you idiot, then it's like, well, the numbers show it needs a buff. You know what I mean? Or if, oh, maybe you're right, it doesn't need a buff. Instead of like, hey, should the Dragon Crossbow get a 20% buff? Yes or no? Yeah, that's so like, you know what I mean? That causes such a panic in like the economy where like the prices just immediately shoot up, and then vice versa. Something gets nerfed out of nowhere, just done. It gets put into the ground at elk value pretty much.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyways, I think it's fair enough to move on. It was just something I wanted to quickly bring up, just because I always have in the back of my head about, I wish they would be, they would just change the way they do nerfs a bit.
Yeah.
And like, bring more of them in. Instead of one day fucking nerfing the blowpipe hardcore, which I think they might in the future. It'd be nicer to see them start doing it now with little slight, take away its accuracy a little bit, take away this, maybe, you know what I mean? Like, slowly tinker with it.
Yeah.
And whatever happens with the market, I guess kind of happens. But anyways, I think it's fair enough to move on from that. Yeah. And last thing we're going to talk about, just kind of indulging in myself for a minute. So please, if you don't mind humoring me, I got an email for about, my account a year in review, basically. I thought it was kind of interesting. So this is the email I was talking about earlier. And yeah, so I'll quickly go through it though. I gained 43 million experience this year out of a total of 87 million. So I gained half my experience this year. I got 33 quest points this year, and I have a total of 217. I gained 220 levels this year. The most blocked creature this year, not by me, just by people in general, was spiritual creatures. The number 2 was steel dragons, and number 3 is black demons. The day with the highest overall experience gain was April the 23rd. It was the day after they added Slayer experience boost to the Mortania Slayer Tower.
Mm-hmm.
A total of almost 43 billion experience was made that day. The most killed boss was Zulrah at 51 million times. There were 34,700 hardcore Iron Man deaths this year. Iron Man said, or I guess not Iron Man, but people said Iron Man, by the way, 180,000 times this year. And that's it for your little stats. So that's kind of cool. Pretty fun to look at.
I never got any emails from Jagex, which sucks.
Can't participate in that little fun thing.
Yeah.
But please let us know what you guys had for the top section there. I would love to hear your guys' stats. It's pretty cool. So definitely let us know if you got that email. All right, now that being said, I apologize. I think we're going to skip lore this week only because this episode's going a little bit longer and there's still some more we want to talk about. So I apologize. Next week we will have it lined up though. And yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, anyways. So Channing wrote in last week, and we want to talk about it then, but we're bringing it to this episode. He was asking, he wanted us to talk about recommendations on base, melee, and range stats to start bossing. Something that, like, low levels could, what's the lowest level, basically, you could start bossing at and for specific bosses. It's kind of interesting because there's a ton of different bosses in RuneScape. Over the years, we've seen a shit ton get added into the game. There's also like a ton of different types of bosses. You have like the demi bosses that they have, some of them are in the wilderness. They're basically a solo boss. Then they have Slayer bosses, which again are solo bosses, but you need a Slayer level to actually get to them. And then you have, I guess, your typical bosses where you can, I guess it's kind of encouraged to do it in a group because you'll get a substantially larger kill count per trip if you're with more people. And these are like the God Wars bosses are perfect examples of this. And you could still do them solo if you wanted.
Yep.
So I figured maybe we go through some of the bosses and see like what are some good stats to solo it at. Like you could do it. It might not be efficient. Then what are some good stats to do it if you're like maybe with a group? Okay.
Yeah.
But if you, what would you think is the first boss? If you were looking to get into bossing, what is one of the easiest bosses to kill?
KBD. Hands down.
Think so?
Hands down.
Well, I would say either KBD or even the Chaos Fanatic. That's also a really easy one. That's a demi boss. That's what it's labeled as.
Yeah. The Chaos Fanatic, the Elemental as well. All those, like the Crazed Archaeologist, like all those are like pretty easy to kill.
Mm-hmm.
You could start off with them, but the only thing is like you're fighting them in the wilderness and you will get jumped by teams a lot and it will deter you from bossing hard. Elemental's nice. It's a 1 in 300 chance to get the pet. So
yeah, all the other drops are shit though.
Yeah. So generally, like with those bosses, they're super easy to kill. You can kind of cheese them by literally like killing them in ways where you don't need any food or supplies. Most of them at least. But yeah, like shitty loot, and also you're gonna get jumped by a lot of teams. I would always say KBD though.
What would you say someone should have to go to that?
Honestly, like KBD, it seems like you just need like 70 range maybe. Like it's pretty sure 61,
yeah,
so you can use
that.
a rune crossbow and ruby e-bolts and stuff. I would say that's the minimum. Like you can duo it though, or people like do it. Like if you go to KBD on a task or just for fun, you'll see people from like between 61 range and 99. Like everyone does it, from like a pure that's bored to like someone who's low to medium level to like someone who's hunting a pet. Right? Super popular boss.
Oh yeah.
The drops aren't that bad. You can get a dragon pickaxe. And I know there's people in the CC in RCC that go, semi frequently to KBD. And, they got a dragon pick, which is pretty sweet. Easy, 1.5 mil, split, cause they go for 3 mil.
And that's the thing. Like, if you go with a couple other people that have 70 range, you could easily spend a fair amount of time in getting a bunch of kill counts there. Because when you have a third the thing is, when it's one person going to KBD, you're taking 100% of the hits, and it can wear you down even at higher levels. But if you bring just even one extra person, suddenly you guys are taking every other hit. You're not getting hit as much at all. And it really makes that difference. Even with that one person, then a third just makes it a little bit easier.
I mean, if I'm doing bandos, I get 1, 2, rarely 3 kills a trip. When I'm with someone else, when I'm with my buddy, we get 20 kills a trip.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a ridiculous amount of difference. Mm-hmm. It's double the damage, less than, I would say depending on the boss, less than half the damage you're taking, if you're tanking or not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it makes a big difference if you're with someone else, but you also have to split it, depending on how chintzy you are. Some people just split the big items.
Oh yeah.
It depends. But yeah, I would say KBD is the go-to boss. I mean, if you want to, or Obor.
Yeah.
If you're a free-to-play, right?
Is definitely the easiest boss. That's a solo boss though. But. Yeah.
The only thing you need is 50 or 25 probably 50 magic, I'd say.
Sure.
Easy for
Some
Obor.
prayer.
It's all you need, and 41 prayer.
Yeah. Another one I would throw in as a starter boss is the giant mole. It's a huge pain in the ass to do, but it's pretty easy. You basically, a lot of people go there with full Deherox, so you need 70 in all melee stats, and then you also want the 43 prayer to pray against it.
Yeah, you rock cake down to 1 HP and you just pray melee and you whack it.
Yeah, if you really wanted to, though, go with 70 range even. Probably could do it there. Not recommended, but...
Me being me, I'd always recommend having the Foul or Hard Diaries done before you kill Mole. Because that unlocks the shield. You can track where the Mole is because it has a chance on hit to run away. And it is such a pain in the ass if you don't have the shield. Like, I've done it with and without the shield. It's not worth it doing it without, but it's worth doing it with.
Mm-hmm.
That's consistent money, though. That is very consistent money. You don't really get any good drops. You get, like, rune and something like that, or pet. But, like, the main thing is you get the skin and the claws, the mole skin and claws.
Yeah.
It's easy money. But yeah, mole's also a really good one. But like I said, it's not really worth doing until you have, like, Founder Hards done.
But if it's just for fun,
Sadly.
you and a couple other people could do it. Just bum rush it, just for fun. You're going to run out of a lot of energy, bring a bunch of stamina potions for it.
Yeah, the only thing is if you're, like, massing mole and no one has the thing, like, you're going to lose money.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
If it's just for fun, that's all that matters just sometimes, right?
Yeah. Just a heads up, though. You're going to lose money if you go with multiple people, no shield. But yeah, I'd say KBD. One trick that, like, most people do is you bring a looting bag, and once KBD dies, whoever gets the kill, make space for all the loot, quickly pulls the lever, jumps out, throws everything into the looting bag, and they jump back in, pick up their food, and start on the next boss.
Oh, yeah.
And that it's nice to do that because it makes sure one person isn't hogging all the kills too, unless they're way higher level. If you guys are all the same level, one person will be missing out. Like, the last person to get the loot will be missing out on a couple hits. Mm-hmm. So there's no way one person will be hoarding all the loot and, like, so it does kind of, like, evenly kind of split it up just naturally. But yeah, I would definitely say KBD is the starter.
And then maybe one step above that, this boss I find is pretty fun. And I think it's really fun to do with another person, or maybe even a third, or a little group. So I'd like to hear your opinion on starter stats for soloing as well as a group, because things change a lot when you bring just one other person. So Dagginoth Kings, all three of them. Because I know you can solo them. You can solo one of the dudes, the Rex, the melee guy. You can kind of save spot him. It's kind of hard to do that, but honestly, I at least enjoy it a lot when I'm doing the trio, all three of them, and I'm with another person. So that one, you do bring all three different combat styles, and depending on which one you're fighting, you're switching between it.
Yeah. I think like a must to, like, get kills and not, hate it is Trident, any type of Trident, Blowpipe, Guthans. Yeah. I think those are, like, really, really important when you're doing it solo and trio. I mean, trio, solo, duo, trio, whatever. Yeah, Blowpipe, Trident, and Guthans. So those are kind of your base stats, 75 range minimum. I mean, you definitely want more than 70 attack, strength, and defense, but, like, you could minimum go with 70, but I would recommend, if you're, like, soloing, I mean, if you're gonna solo, I don't know. I've tried soloing the all three of them, and it's not really a good time. I haven't really done it in a while, though.
The way you want to do it is, like, the first time you get in there, it's going to be a pain because you have all three of them, unless you can make it so one of the guys not aggroed onto you. But the idea is to kill them and have it so there's only one up at any given time. And you're able to kill that one before the next one spawns. And you kind of have it on rotation. That's where things can get kind of tricky when you're going solo, because if you're not killing it fast enough, the next one might spawn. I would say you probably could tackle it with 80 base stats.
Yeah, no, 80 base is definitely, like, a safe number. If you're, like, soloing, like, when you're with groups, it changes a lot, but, like, you kind of have to kill them before the next one spawns. So they all have 255 HP, and each one of them have, like Rex has no magic defense, Prime has no range defense, Supreme has, like, half of the melee defense. Mm-hmm. So you have to be able to kill them, like, within, like, 20 seconds, I'd say. Maximum per kill. 20 seconds. So that's kind of, like, the limit. It's kind of hard for that. That one's, like, actually really tricky, because, yeah, soloing, you actually might need, like, higher than, like, I would say, like, 80 to 90. Obviously, the higher the better, but yeah, you want to be able to kill them in at least 20 seconds, and you're going to be taking a lot of damage too on the first route. So what people do is they bring Ice Burst or Blitz, whatever, to freeze Rex, and then they'll focus on the other ones, and they can also use the blood spells to heal off of Rex too, to help with so they don't have to eat as much. That's actually a tricky one. I don't really know. My first time doing it, I had high 80 stats, and it was still kind of a trouble for me to do it with a group, or with another person, I should say.
Oh, even with 80, because I was going to say, if with another person, you could probably maybe tackle it with 70 stats.
No, I would say like 80s, like 80 minimum. I remember having like mid to high 80 stats duoing, and it was still like, like it was still kind of sketchy. Maybe it was because I was new to bossing. It was one of my first bosses, but yeah. I think generally a rule of thumb is having 80 base stats is like ideal.
Yeah, for a lot of things, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I guess this brings us to, we could probably quickly go through the Slayer bosses, because like, I feel like once you get to the Slayer level, you can kill them.
Yeah, I was going to say that. With Slayer bosses, once you have the level, unless you're some weird fucking like gimmicky, like, account build where you're, like 10 attack and you have like 90 Slayer.
Yeah.
I mean, but if you're like an average person, like by the time you have the Slayer level, you can kill them. Like Kraken, all you need is a trident and like a short bow.
Easy.
Any short bow and a trident, you're good. Sire, you need smoke barrage, and blood barrage or burst. Like, yeah, you need smoke barrage and you need any of the blood spells, but blood barrage preferred. Cerberus, you need what, like 50 prayer, above 50 prayer?
Yeah. Well,
Is it no, or above 60, I should say?
I would say even 40, because normally I tank one of the hits.
Well, you have to pray. You have to be able to pray magic, melee, or range, depending on which ones.
I can block
because he does attack you with all of them.
Yeah,
Cerberus.
I would say as long as you can block 2 of them, and each one drains 30. But let's say you have 35. Oh yeah, you're right. Never mind. I don't know why I said 40 prayer. But anyways, the reason I said that though is because let's say it drains you 1 and it brings you from 40 down to 10 because it drains 30. The next one will drain you 30, but if you only have 10 left, it'll only drain the 10. But yeah, you do need I'd say at least 43 prayer for that one.
Yeah. Stats wise though, you should really go with a Hasta or a bludgeon.
Yeah.
So minimum 70 attack and strength. But like I said, at this point though, you're gonna have a lot higher than that. So once you're able to do Cerberus, like you'll be set.
Yeah, definitely.
Thermo, kind of the same thing, because like he's pretty easy to kill. He's really fucking easy to kill.
It's a melee Kraken.
I mean, I go in, spec him a couple times, finish him off, and then leave, come back.
Yeah.
Slayer bosses, yeah, are pretty straightforward. You just you just need like an item, like a Hasta, which a Hasta is kind of true for a lot of random bosses. Like a Hasta is a super good weapon because you can use that for everything. It's got slash, stab, and crush attack styles, and it's a one-hander, and it's got good attack speed, it's got defensive stats, it's got good offensive stats. Like it's a really good go-to weapon for like other things like God Wars dungeons, those bosses. I guess we can segue into those. Generally, all of them, if you're gonna solo them, I would say like with God Wars, you should have 90 and up.
Yeah. They're tough ones.
For like, yeah, Arma, Bandos, and stuff like that. Zammy. I mean, let's be real though, everyone just kills Zammy and Sarah. Sarah, you literally need to have 70 agility.
True, yeah.
Sarah, I would say like if you're soloing, have like 90 stats. If you're in a group, have at least 80, like 80 minimum. Cause my first time soloing Bandos, I had base 80s and it was very hard. I'd get like 1 kill a trip. I died quite a bit because Bandos can just combo you out. And then at 90s, it was a lot easier and I could get 2 kills, but there's still a lot of times where I scrape by on 1 kill. And if I got really, really lucky, I'd get 3 kills in a solo, but duo's obviously very different. So I would say, base 90s if you're solo, 80s.
And with a duo, as like it kind of depends on who your partner is. If he's got if he's high, like a maxed out account, you could probably come in with 80 base stats and just basically be fine because you need someone else to tank it at that point.
Yeah.
You may not hit it too often, but You could do it, right?
Yeah.
You'll still do damage every now and then.
Yeah, if you have 2 people that are base 80s though, like you guys could do that. I see Zerkers with 45 defense in groups.
Oh yeah, that's
doing bandos. That's the thing. So like the more people there are, the kind of like, you know, different, I guess, more like lax it is on the stat requirements, but there are basic things like there are like just certain gear requirements. Like if it's like bandos, he's got very high. There's a lot of magic ranged and melee that goes out in that fight. So like you would go out with like a Carol's top and like maybe Torag legs minimum, but you know what I mean? So it's kind of like a lot of it is gear dependent too, but stat wise, I'd say 80 to 90, depending if you're soloing. I mean, to like just start bossing in general, I would say just get base 80s to be safe.
For the big guys.
Like 80 range, mage, melee. Just in general, just to be safe, like, cause then you have the possibilities to do a lot of bosses. There are like some with like Venenatus where, like the wilderness bosses where, you can go in for like full Verax. People do range it though. You do see low levels ranging it. The wilderness bosses are different though because you can safe spot them all. So you don't even take damage. And so you can see, like, I've seen level 50s killing Venenatus safe spotting with like a crossbow.
Yeah, and like that's the thing too. It's like if you just want a boss for the fun of it, you don't want to be necessarily efficient. You can do them at lower levels. You might need a group. But I know when you and we went to Venenatus, we brought some people. There were some people who were a lot lower and they were able to do just fine. They'd even get the kills sometimes just because that's the way RNG worked out. Having base 70s is great because you can use Verax, which is used in a lot of boss fights. But then again, being able to use the ruby bolts help a lot because it does percentage based on their health.
Yeah, I would say like safe numbers if you're gonna. Hey, anyone want to do some bossing? Just have like at least base 80s with like piety unlocked, just to be safe. Because like with Sarah and stuff like that, like if you're soloing Sarah, I would say like have 90 range. Because you need to be killing, like, the minions before the boss spawns, and that boss is, like, a lot of running. Like, there are, like, some weird bosses where, like, they're kind of troublesome to solo, like the God Wars dungeons. The older bosses, Calphite Queen, all the God Wars and stuff like that, are much more difficult to kill solo because the way they made bosses difficult back in the day were just, here, he's gonna hit you for 80 randomly. He could hit it twice in a row. Up to the RNGesus, like, so that's kind of like a little tricky. But, you know, I think KBD is like the most forgiving boss. It's super easy to get to. The only issue is trying to find an empty world.
It's interesting. But, I guess lastly we'll tackle too is Zulrah. Honestly, I would say for that one, you could do it with 75 range and 75 mage. You just gotta learn the rotations. It'll be tough, definitely be tough, but you can do it if you learn the fight. And it's not even learning the fight, it's noticing the patterns of the fight. It's a solo boss that drops a lot.
Yeah, knowing where to stand. Oh, he's standing here doing this.
Yeah. Because when I was doing it, I had 75 stats, or maybe even, I was probably in the 80s. And I was still having trouble, but a lot of it's coming down to, dodging the gas and stuff like that. And when's he going to go into this Jad phase where you need to switch between two different magic protections prayers? Sorry, two different combat protection prayers. And the damage really just speeds it up so you don't got to deal with that bullshit for longer periods.
I will say, it was like 88 range and like 80 magic or 80. I think I had 88 range, 80 magic, and I struggled to kill Zulrah. Like the fights would go like 3-4 minutes. I had a 5-minute fight where the kills are so slow and I'm like completely out. And I do see recommended as like 85 magic. And yeah, I mean, you can, like, people do just range it. You don't actually need magic, but it's way better to have a higher magic level than a range level when you're killing Zulrah. I noticed it being a lot easier at 85 and above. Like, when I was using my account and it was like, I had 80 magic at the time, it was kind of a struggle. And then one of my buddies' account who had like 94 magic he had Vengeance, so that made it a lot easier. But it was like night and day. It was like one, I was struggling to get a kill and I'd be out of food. Another one is like, I'd do like 4 on a trip and walk out. Because like, the accuracy and stuff like that, the high magic level really does help you get the kills done faster.
Yep. But if, like I said, if you learn the pattern of the fight, you could definitely do it with lower. The problem is like it's kind of hard to learn it. It takes some time, and like normally you want to hire, as long as you can use a blowpipe and the trident, and you're willing to stick it out and learn the fight patterns, you'll be able to do it eventually. And you could probably at some point do it at ease. The kills might take a little bit longer because of your damage you're not putting out is not as strong.
Well, the main thing is like if you're stuck fighting Zalra for 4 minutes, like generally you're gonna like if you don't know the fight super well, you're gonna run out of food and die or have to tell out.
No, I get what you're saying. If you want to be efficient and like actually learn, it's gonna be tough. But what I'm saying is like you could do it. People do it. People get their accounts to 75 and the 2 stats, and they go, and they already know their fight. Maybe they are on their main, and they're just doing it every single time constantly because they got, you know what I mean? They got the fight down. Because the problem is when you're learning the fight, you're not hitting them as much as you can be because you're always running around trying to dodge this, trying to dodge that, and you're missing a lot of hits.
Yeah, so if you're like trying to learn a fight, it's better to kind of play it safe, get something like 85 magic, that's all I'm saying.
And lastly, for the bosses, I think we should talk about, I guess it'd be like the end game bosses, like the total end game boss.
Yeah, like corporeal.
Yeah, corporeal beast, and I guess you can throw in raids there, because I feel like if you're able to do corp, for the most part, you could probably do raids in a group.
Kind of like the other way. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, so with corp, it's very different. So if you're maxed out, like my general rule of thumb in just general is if you have like a buddy and you want to boss with your buddy, get base 80s minimum. If you want to if you're strictly soloing, base 90s, but obviously the better stats, the better. But base 80s to base sure. 80s for like you and a friend. If you and a friend are looking for the same goal, and then if you're on your own, base 90. And it's the same thing with like corp, but the main thing is the gates are what you have. So if you're soloing corp, you need to have at least 82 construction. You need to have a dragon warhammer, an arc light, and BGS is kind of like cherry on top, but you kind of need to have all 3 of those spec weapons. A cannon, which is kind of a given. And like you need like the pool, like you need like a lot of stuff when it comes to soloing corp, because like the main thing with corp is that it's got such a high defense and it's weak to spears. So if you're going to kill it, you have to have a Zamorakian spear. Like you have to. If you're soloing. And so you're going to Dragon Warhammer spec it. I believe it's 4 times. I could be wrong. It's been a long ass time since I've killed corp, like in a like a organized group. And then you Dragon Warhammer spec it, and then you BGS spec it like 2 to 4 times. And then you Arclight spec it a handful of times, and you lower its defense to pretty much nothing. And then you go in and you kill it with a spear. And the reason why like you need the pool is because you go in, you spec it, you immediately teleport to your house, drink the pool, and you just kind of do that over and over and over again until you have all your specs done. Yeah. And then, you start killing it, it drops its core, you turn on your cannon, let your cannon kill the core, and you kill the boss. In a group, it's very different because if you're doing a free-for-all, you're not allowed to bring full void. You're not allowed to bring melee void. There's pretty strict rules.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when you're doing free-for-alls. Most free-for-alls, or a lot of them, don't let you bring Ruby Bolt's E, because like the Bolt's E spec will still hit 100 even though you need a spear to kill it, just the way the passive of the bolt works. So they don't let you, like, a lot of them don't let you use Ruby Bolts, a lot of them don't let you use Void, so what you'd end up using is like Bandos legs, Bandos top or a fighter torso, the best boots you got. And I mean, the better stuff you have, obviously, the better. Because it's free for all, right? There's gonna be like 10 people there. You're gonna get one good hit and hope that's your kill.
Yeah.
Because you guys all just kind of stand there. One person is nice enough to kind of, alright, for the next 5 kills, I guess I'll dance with the core and probably lose a hit or 2 and not get as many kills, or any kills. So like Corp is like really, really different in that sense, where if you're soloing, you're really, really gated on like, you need to have like 100 mil plus worth of gear. When you're like soloing it, you can bring like full melee void, so it's kind of different. But if you're in a group, you could kind of just go in with just a spear, but if you're expecting kills, you kind of need like the Penance fighter helmet, at least a torso, but preferably full bandos with like the max strength bonus stuff. So like that, yeah, Corp is a bit different. I mean, it is the hardest boss in the game technically, so of course it'll be like in its own little area of like requirements.
The boss itself isn't really meant to be soloed. That's why you gotta like go back to your house 13 times just to fucking be able to kill it on your own. But, you know, Iron Man kind of have to do that. And raids are kind of similar. They're not really meant to be solo. They're meant to be kind of in a group.
Yeah. So if you're doing a raid, I would say the biggest thing is skilling stats. So the main skill you need is 78 Herblore for overloads. And like you need those like pretty badly. Like they're super important for like getting through some of the fights. Just because the damage you can get, especially while learning the fights, is like pretty important. Having like full elite void, so having your Western diaries done and having full like void sets, melee, range, and mage. You know, trident, blowpipe, like all that like kind of high-end efficient gear.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, having the skilling stats will also just kind of help you get into a party if you might not have the most optimal combat stats. Because if you have 99 Herblore, you might get chosen over a maxed combat account that doesn't have Herblore. Yeah.
Because, yeah, if you join like free-for-alls and whatnot, they kind of want people to help. Like, the biggest thing is helping with supplies to get through the fights and not leeching, so not just like AFKing and stuff. Kind of just like being able to hold your own, though, is kind of like the most important. It's difficult to put like an actual number on it or a stat requirement because the scales do like scale. The raids do scale to your level. So that's why you see like level 3s being accepted because they're max skillers. And it's like, well, it's free points for everyone else in the raid and they're getting all the supplies. So being a skiller is like completely acceptable if you have 90 Herblore. Like if you're a skiller, you kind of have to have 90 Herblore. And if you kind of have like an empty, like, if you just have like a bucket of money, just never ending, you can just have as much gold as you want and you can get 90 Herblore. You could even just have 90 Herblore and get into pretty much every single raid just because like it's so valuable. I mean, obviously the better stats, you know, the better, but.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, is that it for all the bosses?
For the most part, I know we missed a few of the wilderness ones, but again, you can kind of loop them into some of the other ones. They're,
just safe spot them.
Yeah, yes.
Safe spot them and fucking die to some PKers. That's how it works.
Yeah, you do definitely got to be wary, and that's the problem. If you got lower stats, let's say you go to some of the bosses with Verax with lower stats, not only is it going to be harder to kill it, but you'll be there for a longer period, leaving yourself more vulnerable to PKers. So yeah, you got to be careful out there.
Yeah, I mean, my general rule of thumb is base 80s if you have some people to boss with, and if you don't, then base 90s. That's just my general rule of thumb that I've always kind of used. That's what, like, when I first got into bossing, I actually might have been at the start of the podcast when, like, episode 1 or 2, I might have either just started bossing or been gearing up for it, but, like, I want to say at the beginning, I started, like, doing bandos for the first time and stuff. I don't know, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I can't remember.
I don't know if I maxed my melee stats during the podcast. I have no idea. It was such a long time ago.
Yeah, I think you did. Because remember, you did a lot of NMZ.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I started doing solo bandos at 80, and eventually I stopped because it was too much of a pain, and I went back again at 90.
You could do it, but you'll probably spend an hour getting one kill. So unless you're super lucky like Deagin and get those bandos chest body, your kill count 2 or 3, it's
13 actually. Kill count 13, okay.
Oh, big whoop. But yeah, so I guess to sum it all up, if you're looking to get into bossing, maybe look at King Black Dragon, Giant Mole, Chaos Fanatic, Crazed Archaeologist. Those ones are basically your entry-level bossing monsters, right?
Yeah, there's one on the Fossil Island one too. Forget what his name is.
That one's a little bit stronger than the Wilderness one, I believe.
Yeah.
But it is definitely out there. And I guess, we forgot Vorkath. Want to quickly give what you think Vorkath should be?
See, that's kind of a tough one. I don't really know. I would just, because I ranged
range?
with the blowpipe. Yeah, maybe 80 to 90 range. If you don't have a BGS, I would definitely lean towards 90 range. If you do, lean towards 80 range. Cause like, if you don't spec it, it is a lot tougher. It does kind of add a minute to the kill. Yeah. So kind of depending if you have a BGS or, you know, a Dragon Warhammer, I would say 80 to 90 range.
Yeah, cool. So that's basically the bosses right there. No, we might have skipped over a few or kind of whatever, but yeah, the bossing is a lot of fun in RuneScape, and definitely if that's something you're kind of interested in, maybe find some people and go try KBD when you get 70 range. And bossing is a lot more fun to do with other people than it is to do solo.
Yeah, get on Discord with a buddy or something, and it's way it's a way better time to compared to soloing.
Again, yeah, if you're looking to do it, you know, maybe if you're in our clan chat or our Discord, let people know. And there's tons of people who are constantly, and they're not like, they might not be the most high level, which is great because then you guys can go as a group and you're not like, it's not like a max level's taking all the kills. And you know what I mean? Is he nice enough to split this dragon pickaxe with me? Kind of deal, right?
Oh, he logged? Oh, shit.
Disconnected.
Deagin's done it again.
That fucking rascal. But yeah, just let people know that you're interested in bossing, and yeah, you'll probably find someone that's willing to go with you and set something up, or you know, one of us will, or something like that, right? But
yep.
Yeah, and that's our time to segue it. You're probably wondering, hey, what is your clan chat? Well, you can join our clan chat in game by searching Wild CC. We have a Discord available as well, and I believe we have to get them repinned back on Facebook and Twitter because I thought you could have multiple pins, but I guess not. Things got a little janky there, and they got kicked off because I put some other things up there, so I'll have to fix that.
I repinned the Facebook one. I don't know if I repinned the other one. Tweeter? But yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, but it's out there. If not, let us know and we'll get you a link, and you can come join us in there. If you want to get in touch on Facebook or join our, I guess, Facebook page. I don't even know what it is, or group. It's The Wilderness Podcast, facebook.com/Wilderness Podcast. Sorry. If you want to follow us on Twitter, it's at The Wilderness RS. Our email is thewilderness.podcast@gmail.com. And that's about it. Deagin, do you want to let them know how they can get in touch with you personally? Anything you want to plug?
I guess my Twitter at DeaginRS. I'm not too active. Hoping to change that though once I kind of figure out what the hell I'm tweeting about.
Sick, dude.
Maybe I'll just make some stupid little pictures. I don't know. We'll find out. Yeah.
Cool. If you want to follow me, it's at Dilz RS or maybe RS Dilz. Again, I'm not too active on that one. I really just made it because I need to get in touch with some game devs for this mobile game I was playing. It was bugging out, so that's why I kind of started using that one, but I don't use it too much. I probably post on the Wilderness Podcast more than I do on my personal.
Yeah.
But just the way she goes. Alrighty, I think we tackled everything. We have a Google Plus. If you guys want to join us on that, go ahead and do it, but I don't even know what the fuck that thing is. But it's out there. If you use it, tell us what the fuck is it for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Till next week?
Yeah, until next time.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening. Again, I apologize for the lore part. We'll bring her back next week. You know, consistency is key. So that's what we like to offer here on the Wilderness Podcast. Thanks for listening.
Have a good one.
All right. Ta-ta.